Okay, testing. It's looking good, I think. Welcome to those that are here. We got Serbian Nigerian in the house, as well as Virtual Asylum. Thank you very much for the reminder that I was supposed to be live today. I apologize about the wait, guys. I know I was normally like to start like a couple hours before now. But it should be a good show. I got some stuff lined up anyways. And we'll talk about that. We'll do a few other things. I'm just going to play a little bit of music, wait for a couple people to come in. If you don't mind, if you could hit the like button just so it snowballs the viewership just a little bit, I'd appreciate it. Got a few things lined up for us. So I'd say the show will start, it's about 11 minutes. And we got some good content here as well while we wait. So I'll talk to you soon.
This World Cup. I know that you got a little stick when you were up here. Couple chants. I think that's a sign of infection, though, right? Like, everybody gets booed. Everybody in the position of power gets booed.
Get a freshly made footlong from Subway instead.
We look forward to holding those feet to the fire. This is my charge to everyone. We have to be better. We have to love more, hate less. We gotta listen more and talk less. We gotta know that this is everybody's responsibility. Every single person here. Every single person who's not here. Every single person who doesn't want to be here. Every single person who agrees and doesn't agree. It's our responsibility to make this world a better place. Equal pay! Equal pay!
It's a chant now linked forever to the 2019 U.S. women's soccer team. On the heels of their World Cup victory in France, the players are using their fame and platform to promote equal pay, not just for athletes, but for all working women.
It's very frustrating for us on the team, for women everywhere, I'm sure, to be feeling like they aren't getting paid what they should.
The U.S. women's team filed a gender discrimination lawsuit in March. Members were hoping mediation talks with the U.S. Soccer Federation would bring their pay in line with their male counterparts.
And it's not just about us, and it's not just about this moment.
But those talks fell apart, and now team leaders are planning to take their fight to court.
We are very confident that if this needs to go to litigation, that we have a great case because it's based on a very simple principle that we think is fair and right, and it is the law.
I have a question for all of you. So let's start first as a former national team player and just your reaction to the ruling.
Surprised, of course, frustrated.
Why do you suppose the judge sided against, I guess so he's not siding with, but went against the women here?
The reasons for that were, one, the women actually in this relevant period, which they're looking at, which is essentially the last 5 years, said, one, the women made more on a gross standpoint and on a per game basis. And two, he said that their pay structure is very different. So we had injury protection, maternity protection, severance pay. And so there were a lot of other assurances we had in there. It's a very different setup for the women. The judge obviously talked a lot about this in his judgment, and in his opinion, his 32-page opinion about that. So I think it was the fact that the women over the last 5 years made more money than the men, and two, that the pay structure was very different.
Then, as an analyst, there's no way this is pieced together than anything other than a loss for what the women had argued here.
Wow, what do you say after that one? Brutal, savage, wrecked, absolutely taken down.
Morning, some burritos.
Oh, nice.
Oh.
Burritos? Get a freshly made footlong from Subway instead, with crisp veggies on freshly baked bread. Just order in the app.
Oh, okay.
Try the oven roasted turkey with banana peppers for a little extra kick.
Okay, I get it.
Oh.
Get a freshly made footlong from Subway instead.
Choose better, be better.
You're in big trouble, though, pal. I eat pieces like you for breakfast.
You eat pieces for breakfast?
No.
Megan Rapinoe almost bully players into kneeling because she really wants to stand up for something in her particular way.
The whole time you were in Tokyo, did you know that you were going to retire?
I hadn't made a final decision.
Did you tell your husband before you got on the plane to go to Tokyo that it was it?
No. Wanted to come out of there with a gold medal as well, but it's not just about us, and it's not just about this moment.
Hey, Gilmore, you suck, you jackass.
And it's not just about us, and it's not just about this moment.
Still a couple more moments before we start. Hello to everybody in chat. I will get to you as soon as possible. That was the rise and fall of Megan Rapinoe, one channel before this channel had many viewers. I made that, I don't know, sometime last year. A couple more songs there for you. This is Tie a Green Ribbon on the Handy Sook Tree by Jeff C. Rip Jeff C, man.
Well, I'm coming home, I fed the cats. Now I'm gonna try to fool you with my act. If you had seen my face all over your TVs, then you'll know just what to think of Creepy Gene. You can call me Grampy Gene. Well, tie a green ribbon round the sandy hook tree. It's been too long years. Do you still believe in me? Still want me? If I don't see green ribbons round the sandy hook tree, I bring out the juice, stuff animals to become Grampy Gene. If I don't see green ribbons round the sandy hook tree.
They were sitting there.
Bus driver, please look for me, 'cause I've never learned to count past 3. I'm really a bad actor, and that man is speaking harshly. A simple green ribbon's all I need to set me free. Behold, I'm Grampy Gene. Well, tie a green ribbon round the sandy hook tree. It's been too long years. Do you still believe in me? If I don't see green ribbons round that sandy hook tree, I'll bring out the juice of animals to become Grampy Gene. If I don't see green ribbons round that sandy hook tree.
My teacher's been shot. I could not fathom this. Can't go back to the school. We can't go back to the school because we don't have a teacher.
Go back to the school. We can't go back to the school. Our teacher's gone.
Now the whole damn town is cheering, and I can't believe I see 100 green ribbons round the sandy hook tree.
I want them to call me Grampy or Uncle Gene or that guy or hey you. I want to hold them. I want to be with them. I want to tell them that there is light after the darkness. I want to read to them. I want to read a book to them. I want to be with them. I want to give them a special gift for Christmas. I want to tell them that I will love them forever and ever. They will be in my heart forever and ever.
Yeah, it's been a long time now. That was Mr. Gene Rosen from the old Handy Sook debacle, whatever happened there. That was, yeah, the channel's been taken away a long time now. Free Radio Revolution, Jeff C. Yeah, it has been terminated indeed. He did a lot of exposing the FF things that have been going down for the past few years. We disagreed on a lot of stuff, but he also woke me up to a lot of stuff too. So, rip Jeff C. Play one more. Let's see if I can find it real quick. And then we'll get into the show. Roses. Nah, I can't find it. I'll just play this one. This is Kino Changes, or Perimen in Russian. Aced. Welcome everybody. Hello my dear viewers. That was Keynote Changes. And I think I already announced the other ones there. So hello to everybody in the chat. Good to see you all. Let's see what we got going. Oh my goodness, you guys are lighting it up already. All right, Kate Bush, Virtual Asylum, Serbian Nigerian. Always good to see you guys. I don't remember how to say this name, man. I'm sorry. I'm gonna go with your last name, Ramzan. Ramzan. What's up, man? How you doing? Should check out the women's NBA. It is 98% lesbian. It's like a cult. I remember seeing a WNBA game. I went to a Liberty game when I was in New York, and you know, it was okay. It wasn't really much better than the university team that I see in where I'm from. The Seahawks are pretty good. This is a great song. Too bad Gary Glitter was a pedo. Yes, Mr. He had his ties to Jimmy Savile, didn't he? Yeah, they were both protected pretty well by the BBC and other groups or whatever. So if you don't think that's systematic, then you wouldn't know. But they try their best to keep that under wraps, don't they? The best part about playing that song is none of the royalties go to him. So not that I make any money. This channel isn't monetized, but if it was, and I lost that money, it doesn't go to him. Let's see. WNBA has been costing the NBA $10 million a year just to keep that lesbian cult afloat. Yeah, it costs money to do so. Same thing. Well, I think the women's soccer makes money, but yeah, the NBA specifically, I know they lose money. I don't think there's ever been a year where they made money. So yeah, that's interesting. Fun and informative video. Welcome to the channel, P Mendez 99. Have yourself a wrench so you can pass out links. Fun and informative video, you say. That is the Woke Wars one? Yeah, man. Glad you liked it. Glad you liked it. Spent a bit of time on that. Didn't get many views, but that's cool. That's cool. Let's see. Sandy Hook is such a long time ago. Yeah, I know, man. 2014, I believe it was. So yeah. Yeah, George Floyd was an FF. I don't know what I can say here without getting kicked, but possible. I tend to think that they had just had everything ready, waiting for a time such as this. But I've also heard the theory that it could have been there could have been some sort of stage going on. But I don't know. I wasn't there, unfortunately. All I do know is that whether it was real or fake or whatever in between, they were ready for that to go. They had all the networks in place to start losing their minds once that happened, right? Hey, Leading North made it to a live stream. I just played, by the way, that video that you guys were just laughing at. Hold on. That was from Leading North. I'm going to give you guys the link. If you aren't subscribed to him, you should totally do it now. He has some great stuff that he puts out. He finds some great videos, and we'll just go right back to this. This is in Slovakia, I think, if I'm not mistaken. So you have these guys holding the Slovakian flag. I think that's Slovakian flag, right? I'm not losing my mind on that. And then you have these two morons holding the Ukrainian flag upside down and backwards. Well, I guess backwards doesn't really matter, but upside down specifically. And I guess because they're super actors or whatever, and you can't have any pride in any of our countries anymore unless it's been sanctioned by NATO or been condoned by NATO, I mean to say. And then you have these guys, they're not taking it. They're not having it with these guys, so they flick the water. So just one more time. The first one is my favorite. Boom! Perfect headshot. And then he pours it all over the flag. Beautiful. He gets hit again by the other side. And you have this woke woman over there giving the thumbs up. Oh, you're making a mess. You're making a mess. And then the base baldy rips the mask off him. It's great. It's great. So yeah, that's on Leading North's channel. Again, one of, honestly, like, criminally underviewed channel. I've been watching pretty much all of his content, and the stuff that's on it is great. It's not just like little clips like that either, but like some pretty very well pertinent videos of things. Like the one I like to shill a good bit is this How to Sell a War, how America was lied to into Desert Storm, which is very pertinent for what's going on today. It's like the same playbook, just like swap out the names and different nouns and stuff like that. It's like they're ad-libbing this. Lots of other great stuff on this channel, by the way. So check that out. Indeed, you should totally do so. The other thing that we were just looking at, Lvov, whatever you want to call it, they just took a missile strike that hit what looks to be an oil depot, and I think the map did confirm that. An oil depot in Dubno town, the Rivne region, which is just outside Lviv. They took a hit. And they say Mayor Lviv, one of the schools near the place of the airstrike, windows were broken by a shockwave. There were no victims. Let's hope that that is the case with this here. And you'll see this big explosion come up right now. Boom. So this seemed to be around sunset. This looks like it was a little earlier, I'm not sure. But you can tell by these flames, I mean, there's a lot of fuel backing that up. Most likely ain't wood. That is a lot of heat. So it looks like Putin's now targeting fuel specifically. I know that they've been talking about on the news how they're giving fuel and natural gas over to Europe. Biden was about to do that. Or, well, his handlers were making that decision. So I think that that is probably what Putin is going for now, is starting to hit fuel supply so that they can further knock out. They have a lot of the army surrounded, cornered, and stuff like that, and now they're taking out the fuel sources. And it would make sense. It would make sense to do that. One thing that I've heard about this, by the way, is that they got these coordinates by listening into BBC. BBC did, this was last week, and this is, remember when Lviv got hit for the first time there last week? It was about a week ago now. They were...
series of explosions near the city of Lviv in the west of Ukraine.
So they showed some photos of like these places and what they could be, and different, and basically giving away targets to the Russians.
Country's most westerly major city has so far been seen as a place of sanctuary for many people fleeing Russian attacks further east. Well, earlier on today, a large plume of smoke was seen in the area of the international airport, around 6 kilometers from the city centre. Well, this is Andrei Sadovi. He's the mayor of Lviv, and he says a nearby aircraft repair facility was hit rather than the airport itself. So far, no casualties have been reported. These latest attacks come as the Russian President, Vladimir Putin, has laid out his demands in exchange for what he describes as a peace deal with Ukraine. The Kremlin-backed broadcaster, meanwhile, RT, has had its licence to broadcast here in the UK revoked. And in the last few minutes, the Polish Border Guard Agency has announced that more than 2 million people have now crossed into Poland from Ukraine since the war began. Our first report today from our correspondent Hal Griffith.
Lost in grief and the grim reality of war, the people of Ukraine have endured over 3 weeks of brutal bombardment and indiscriminate deaths. These latest images show the western city of Lviv being targeted this morning, with smoke rising from an aircraft repair plant. And in a northern suburb of Kyiv, more buildings reduced to ruins by Russian airstrikes. There are no reported casualties so far.
So it
While the aerial offensive is devastating, Russia's progress on the ground seems to be stalling. According to the latest...
according to BBC, Jimmy Savile's home.
Intelligence from the UK Ministry of Defence.
But what it looks like to me is that Russia's probably looking in on these footage and then recalibrating their coordinates when they put this down. We don't need to listen to BBC and their garbage. But other than that, it does certainly look like they're giving away some valuable information that leads to, well, you know, loose lips sink ships. The other thing I want to shout out to today, just before we get into some of the other chats or whatever, Madeleine Albright is, she died yesterday. The one that said 500,000 children was an acceptable loss in Iraq to accomplish their mission. So anyways, they get protest. She's here in, I think, Serbia, and she's being protested by a bunch of people, and then she's losing her mind. So this was, I don't know when this was, 2012? But yeah, let's take a look real quick. That's her right sitting down in the blue. Someone just flicked some sort of info paper at her. They can barely contain this crowd. She's like flicking it back at her.
Get out!
Volejte policii. Vysvětlovali ještě. To je válečný zločinec.
Já se krvavá bába. Bude psát na vaše dílo. Čekáme klidně. Tak vy jste váleční. Get out. Vy jste
Nemáte tady co dělat. Volá někdo do policii, volejte, okamžitě, policii.
Did you just hear what she said? She yells to them, disgusting Serbs. So she's there for a book signing, think that everybody loves her. Well, there's a few people woke to the ways of Madeleine Albright, and they decided to crash the party. Just shut it down. All right, enough of that. Let's get into the rest of the chat before I go on. We're going to go into Hunter Biden and the connection to Metabiota today. And we'll probably watch the rest of that Sean Penn video, because actually, to be honest, I watched the rest of it and I thought it was hilarious. Let's see. Surprised that video is still up, the one with Jeff C. Yeah. I think it was because he kind of was nuanced with it, and I think that's how he got away with it. Jeff's ego is always too big, in my opinion. Well, I mean, I work close with him enough to know that my guess was there was a behavioral disorder. And I'm not trying to be, disrespectful to him or anything like that. I think he was possibly a narcissist, or very likely one. But it doesn't mean that he wasn't real. It was just that ego got the best of him, and counterintelligence picked up on it very quick, and they started using it against him. So if you guys are ever doing if you ever plan on making videos or whatever and like giving your opinion and stuff like that, realize that there is a real offensive against people who speak the truth, and they will profile you, and they will use your personality against you often, right? And he certainly, I don't know if you remember like the plane, what was it? The TransAsia flight plane. That was like when it was first used against him. They had one person start saying that the plane was fake, even though it was, in my opinion, clearly real, or at least Jeff believed it was clearly real. But they kept using that and started targeting Jeff, saying, like he's trying to take over the movement, and Jeff sees a shill, and they would just keep saying that over and over, and he couldn't handle it because he didn't realize what was going on against him, right? So that's one reason why it's you can't just follow people, man, because people can be co-opted without them even knowing, It's a good point. It doesn't mean that he didn't offer a lot, and that he didn't that he wasn't right on a lot of things, to be honest. I don't think he was a shill. I think he was the real deal. Dragon M with the Z's, welcome to the channel. Have yourself a wrench. It's a bit loud for me. For anyone else, oh, sorry about that. My apologies. I'll keep an eye on the volume for the next one. Sorry about that. Matt was getting very close. Not sure. Well, okay, so you're talking, with Matthew North? Yeah, man, he was getting way too close. I've been going through his stuff, and he understood a lot of things. And what was he, in his early 20s or something like that? He's super young, and he saw right through a lot of stuff. And so check him out. He's on BitChute. There's probably a few other places. Matthew North, he cuts right through the crap that we see on today's grifters on YouTube and stuff like that. Really, really interesting, his exposés and his deep dives. Extremely capable young man. It's sad to see him that he's gone. Does anybody know for sure that he died? Like what happened to that guy? Like, does anybody know the details on that? I don't know. Someone said that they've remembered Jeff C's video where, oh yeah, waiting for him on that stream, and he never showed up. And I'm telling you right now, the people that were in his circles that depended on him for them to make their livings or whatever like that, they use that to their advantage. They turn that into like a shrine. I don't know exactly what was going on there, to be honest with you. I don't know if there's some sort of intelligence op that was trying to make these people lose their minds over Jeff C. But that's what maybe come back to YouTube, because they had the details on his death and they would not release it. Like, they were all posting videos, paying tribute to him and things like that. But it was like they realized that if people came to terms with him going, him passing, or whatever happened, right, that they probably would not retain the same audience. They would not have the same influence. And so they used that to their advantage by not giving the information that would have brought closure to people. Something was very off with it. Whether it was for selfish gain or whether it was an intelligence operation, they did his viewers very dirty at that time. Anyways, moving on, let's get to the next few things. I'm probably getting behind already. He also thought those fake Bataclan terror attacks on the Foo Fighters were real. Oh, really? I wasn't around during that time. Here comes the map, y'all. Yeah. We got some interesting developments on that map that I was seeing. Looks like there's more bombs that are coming in to the interior, because it was mostly on the front lines that we would see a lot of this stuff. Now it seems to be going in the west. They're not being given any moments to regroup or anything like that. I know that the Russian Interior Ministry, or whatever it's called, they said that they will not be advancing much further at this moment. That the first phase of the invasion is complete, and now they're going to be taking control of the Donbass regions and stuff like that first. I have heard that the second phase will involve pushing up to Kharkiv, because there are still the Azov battalions of Kharkiv. I think they had and also Dnepropetrovsk, I can't even say it. Dnepropetrovsk or Petrovsk. They have their own battalions like that there, and a significant army presence. So I think that they will be taking that area as well. So pushing, once they solidify their hold here, they're probably going to be pushing northwest up until they reach Kharkiv or Kharkov, whatever you want to call it. But for now, there probably aren't going to be too many changes on the map. It's just going to be maybe dealing with resistance and things like that in places like Mariupol. I think that they have more of Mariupol than what they're showing here, but this is live UA map, which is heavily biased towards NATO and Ukraine, and they're only going to give away anything that looks good for them. Yeah. The only update that they have here is Russian forces forcibly removed doctors and patients from the city's hospital. Yeah, okay. I'm sure that's what's going on, buddy. Yeah, all right. So that is the map update. Let's get into any other comments and stuff. We don't agree on everything. We don't all agree on everything. Yes, I agree with that. Nor should we. We shouldn't. We should be able to disagree. There are a lot of people, though, in this I don't know what you want to call it, the truther movement or whatever. They want you to believe their truth and nothing but their truth. And they all fight over it. You get a lot of that. So that's why you can't follow any one person, including myself, indeed. Because there's lots of stuff I get wrong. All right, let's see what else. What the heck? I joined. That was funny AF. Good to see you, man. Whittaker? Or White Tiger. That's what it is. Okay. Welcome to the channel. Have yourself a wrench so you can pass out links. Let's see. Base, your video about the CIA with its hands in every organization was a red pill. I can't listen to a single TV show without questioning everything. Yeah, it's crazy. By the way, for those that were here in the last live stream, remember we were talking about that civil rights group will go to, just give me 1 second, I'll find it. Oop, not wiki.com. Wikipedia, because I got it from that. It was Givi, whatever. Victor Pinchot. We'll get into that. Or Givi. I'll get to it in under a minute. Bear with me. Center for Civil Liberties. Remember, I was trying to find like the quote-unquote early life for these guys. Oh, wait, no. If I just go like that. There we go. Civic Solidarity. These weren't the guys. Hold on. Center Civil Liberties Ukraine. This is it. Hold on. Because they were complaining about how Givi was appears in the videos flagrant violations of the Geneva Conventions. She was preparing the groundwork for prosecution, says Alexandra Matvichuk. Okay, here they are. Yeah, all women except for one guy. Kind of looks like a pedo, but whatever. I went to about the CCL. I was 2 clicks away from this before. I gave up. I gave up too early. So you got them there. Alexandra Matvichuk. That's who we were just talking about right there. Right? Now let's go down to donors. Who are the donors of those people? So those that were here for the last one, I was trying to find it because this is exactly what I suspected. Open Society Foundations, if you don't know who that is George Soros, directly his foundation. The NED, National Endowment for Democracy. Is there anybody that speaks, by the way? Is there anyone at all that speaks on behalf of Ukraine that aren't involved with these groups, these NGOs? Every single one. Every single one of them have either NED or USA behind them and something like Open Society Foundations or International Renaissance Foundation, Kellogg's, or like the Kellogg Foundation, I mean, Rockefellers, Carnegie's, like Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation. There's not a single one. There's not a single one of them that aren't in bed with these people. Every last freaking one. It's like the early life section you guys know about, right? So yeah, that's a little update for that thing that I failed to find at that point, but except for it. Let's see. But were there Redditors there in Lviv? I don't think so. I think that was straight towards infrastructure at that point, the fuel tanks, stuff like that. The military base is outside of Lviv. It's in like a rural area, so I highly doubt that there were any Redditors at that place. And it looked like it wasn't going at actual military people, but rather towards their logistics. So it looks like what Russia's trying to do now is trying to choke them out logistically. Let's see. I was recently watching the video you made about the Juice Jet pilot. They are really moving this up as real. Word, huh? They totally were. They totally were. And of course, we'll get into Hunter Biden now in a moment. But yeah, they have, this is me, I guess, exposing her or whatever. Yeah, so you have Olena Tragub, like we were saying there. For those that didn't see that video yet, we have this chick. She's saying, oh, no, this is totally real, this.
A lot about trying to
This
close
guy.
the skies. That involves both Russian aircraft, but of course also Russian ballistic missiles, artillery, things which are doing great damage to buildings and communities across Ukraine.
Yeah, so maybe about 90% of damage of destructions in our cities, it's an aviation and missiles, both of cruise missiles and ballistic missiles.
Yeah, so you have Olena Tragub there, and yeah, if you go into her stuff, Atlantic Council, and the LinkedIn, you will find that she is also partnered with all these same groups, World Economic Forum. What else was she with? New York Times, Kiev Independent. Kiev Independent, by the way, were the people who first pushed Ghost of Kiev. They were the first. Well, you actually had the Ukrainian Interior Ministry, or whatever it's called, Defense Ministry, that pushed it, and then Kiev Independent. But you also see, along with being with Gromadsky, which is the media channel there, and Kiev Independent, Kiev Post, she's the head of Defense Anti-Corruption Commission, so she's in with the government there as well, right? This stooge, this cheerleader for NATO, right? She's all in. She's like the grout between the bricks, man. Like, it just absolutely ridiculous how obvious they are, and they're just pushing. Oh, I know. CNN verified identity or a pilot. What is that? I don't even know. She can't even speak English. I know. So okay, all right. We'll just take your word for it then. Crazy stuff, man. This is the people that we're dealing with over there. Let's see. Media in a war zone is a terrible idea. Sure, transparency is dandy, but when you get leaks and OPSEC, it's a joke. Yeah, but then you get leaks and OPSEC is a joke. Yeah. Yeah, that's it. I know. It's a balance between the two of them. Ukrainian soldiers are shooting Russian POWs in the kneecap in order to make sure they're disabled for life. Lovely. That doesn't surprise me. I've also heard talks that they are castrating them. I don't know if that's true, but it could very well be the case. Even though it means lives lost, I love it when idiots give positions away. It's so Hollywood. Yeah. I hear we can go into the volunteers for Ukraine. I don't know if we've ever done like a little dive into volunteers for Ukraine when I do a live stream, actually. Well, maybe we'll do that today. I hear the rubbing of hands intensifying and the platter of fried, I can't say that on here, fried skins being passed around. That's spicy. Heard something about execution of Russian soldiers today. Didn't confirm it. Again, wouldn't surprise me. I've heard a lot of these, but we don't know yet. They like to do mock executions, but I saw a couple who looked pretty real. Yeah, they do. I mean, they post a whole bunch of films about everything to drop morale of the Russian group, because that's all they have is the psychological war, right? And the propaganda war. That's basically all that they have. Let's see. Looks like Soros, Keck. Yeah, Soros has his hands over all of this. And she does look a bit like Soros, doesn't she? Yeah. Classy lady. Sign here, please, Madeline. Serbian people died, so this rat come lecture us. Yeah. Good on them, man. Good on them. She's something else. For those that didn't know what I'm referring to, hold on. Madeline, I barely spell her name. Albright. 500,000 Iraqi children. Yeah, Madeline Albright says it was worth it after 500,000 Iraqi children killed. Yeah. This is referring to the sanctions that happened to Iraq during the 90s for the invasion of Kuwait, and that was directly tied to the babies and incubators that you can find on Leading North's website. They talk about this, that gave them justification for the wars that happened. So that's yeah. But she said it was worth it when it was brought up to her, about 500,000 of them dead. That's good old Madeleine Albright. Madeleine Albright indeed. All right. Did I get a chance to check out Harry Vox? I know he's really anti-small hat, but I like him. I haven't looked too much into him. It kind of drove me away. I got to be honest, when I saw he's really focused on the little hats. And I understand they're around. But he's really, really focused on them. But I will get into him. It was just that it's been a busy week of information. I've been inundated with info. Let's see. Sorry if I'm trying to get to the rest of these comments before I move on to the rest of the stuff. Just want to make sure. Nice helmet. Yeah, I know. The helmet is just ridiculous looking. Looks so stupid. It's like a motorcycle helmet. Juice with gold, bro. I don't do much MSM, so I would have missed this. Yeah, I didn't see it too much either. I think Salty Cracker covered it, which ended up on a lot of 4chan stuff. So that's where I found it. But I had to deal with it. Roman Abramovich is shiesty AF. Yes. Yes, he is. Yes, he is. He's the one that did he own Chelsea? I think was that him. I thought OJ was Juice. Yeah, the Juice. He was the Juice. This is just Juice. Damn, you haven't gotten kicked off Twitter yet, Survivor? No. I got kicked off Twitter. This is the second one that I made. I would have a Twitter set up so that like when I go live, it'll tweet it out. But that one got kicked off for calling someone a biatch, I think. I think I said biatch and it got me kicked off. Yeah, so I have that one going and I behave myself there. And I'm just there just so I can get into stuff that you can't see without it. Same thing with Facebook. I've gotten kicked off Facebook because I think I called a fact checker a diversity hire. Probably shouldn't have said that, but whatever. I love Givi. Thumb. Yeah, he's an interesting guy. He was a very interesting guy. They must have taken over 500K out of the intercomputers then. Yeah. That's what's this moderator censure? Can I be a moderator too? Yes, you can. Just be nice. You know what I mean? Don't go muting people, stuff like that. Have yourself a wrench so you can pass out links. Same thing, Deadeye Danny. Have yourself a wrench so you can pass out links if you want to do that. Kneecap video. You guys can watch that for yourself, but I got a feeling that if you have something with kneecaps, maybe getting blown out or something like that, I probably can't post that on the old YouTube. But you guys can check it out for yourself. Lead Thor, also have yourself a wrench. Everybody gets a wrench here, so you can pass out links and things like that. Good source for special operations info. I will certainly gank that. Leading North, thank you very much. Let's take a look real quick. Oh, I don't have... see, I haven't signed up for Telegram yet because I don't want them to have my phone number. I was just speaking with what was it, F3XO Rec or whatever his name is here. He comes here a lot. Apparently the people who are behind Telegram are connected to the World Economic Forum. Let me see if I can figure this out real quick. Telegram app, let's see if we can find that real quick. Because I know there's so much information on there. Maybe there's something I can work around it, or maybe I'll even give them my phone number. I just really don't want them to have it. Based in Dubai, United Arab Emirates. First kind of chink in the armor. Nikolai and Pavel Durov. VK. So same thing as VK. So Russian, so, you know, that is what it is. British Virgin Islands, interesting. Yeah, there's something little, I don't know. I can't, I don't trust it enough to give him my phone number. I just can't do it. Let's see, does he have anything here? Leningrad Front. St. Petersburg State University. On the 16th of April 2014, Durov publicly refused to hand over data of Ukrainian protesters to Russia's security agencies and block Alexei Navalny's page on VK. Instead, he was posted the relevant orders on his own VK page, claiming that the requests were unlawful. That's kind of interesting. That's interesting. Net worth of $15.1 billion. He donated $1 million to Wikimedia Foundation. Jimmy Wales, the sketchbag himself. Ah, here we go. Yeah, there we go. The Mark Zuckerberg of Russia. And in August 2014, Durov was named the most promising Northern European leader under 30. In 2017, he was chosen to join the WEF Young Global Leaders, representing Finland. Interesting stuff. Yeah, I probably won't be joining Telegram, but there is a lot of good info on there. So keep me posted. What you guys find, keep me posted. I'd love to check it out. Grofenstapel G. I'll get you free Obama phone burner. They still give them away. Do they really? Do it up, man. Do it up. Have yourself a wrench too, so you can post links. Dan, Telegram is full on free speech with loads of Team Z footage. Yeah, I tried to sign up for Telegram too, and I had my spidey senses go up. Seems like a honeypot to me. That's what it feels like to me. That is what it feels like to me. They've also been actively sabotaged by Google, Apple. So they're fighting for control. But yeah, see that whole global young. Yeah, oh yeah, it was right up here. He joined the World Economic Forums. I missed that. Sorry. So they are Russian but globo homo. Russian but globo homo. I mean, what else is, is there anything online now that isn't completely paused at this point? I don't know. I don't think so, but I like to avoid it where I can. I do like to avoid it where I can. But no offense to anybody that's using it now. I mean, just be careful. Be careful. Because it could very well be like just a data collection kind of thing, that they might use later. That's why I wouldn't want to, because if you just start an email or something like that, that's all they can tie you to. But a phone number, that's credit card payments and stuff like that, you're connected to, or just be careful. Just be careful when you're using it. All right, I want to get into Mr. Hunter Biden. Now, listen, the sources that I got, it's RT, New York Post, and Daily Mail. I don't like any of them, to be honest. But it does certainly seem, and I do have the contents of the laptop actually on a hard drive, an external hard drive. I keep it off my computer, but an external hard drive. So, a lot of these emails, they do check out. So, we'll get into this. Hunter Biden helped secure funds for U.S. biolab contractor in Ukraine, emails say, and this was from today, earlier on today, March 26, 2022. Russia's assertion that President Biden's son Hunter was, quote-unquote, financing biological laboratories in Ukraine was based in truth, according to emails reviewed by the Post. Let me make this a bit bigger, both for my eyes and for you guys looking in. What kind of douchebag takes a picture of himself smoking? It's so annoying. When I was a smoker and when I smoked weed and stuff like that, I never took pictures of myself doing this. Because it's just so poserish. Look at this guy. My gosh. Anyways, a trove of emails on Hunter Biden's infamous laptop, the existence of which was exclusively reported by the Post in October 2020, found that he played a role in helping a California defense contractor analyze killer diseases and bioweapons in Ukraine. Moscow has claimed that the secret American biological warfare labs in Ukraine were a justification for its unprovoked invasion of the neighboring country last month. It doubled down on the accusations on Thursday, claiming the labs produced biochemical weapons at the Biden family's behest. U.S. President Joe Biden himself is involved in the creation of biolaboratories in Ukraine, Russia's State Duma Speaker Vyacheslav Volodin says. Volodin, I don't know, according to state media. An investment fund run by his son. It's sick. Okay, so it was spelled wrong by them. By his son, Hunter Biden, funded research and the implementation of the United States military biological program. I believe that's DTRA, D-T-R-A. I could be wrong on that. It is obvious that Joe Biden, as his father and the head of state, was aware of that activity, Volodin said, demanding a U.S. congressional investigation and a White House explanation. Well, good luck with that. U.S. intelligence officials had earlier dismissed Russia's messaging as war propaganda, explaining that Ukraine's network of biological labs dedicated to pathogen research were not secret and had publicly received funding from Washington. However, Russia's new claim that the first son's investment fund, was involved in raising money for biolab projects in Ukraine was accurate, according to the emails involving Hunter Biden's dealings in Ukraine, first obtained by the Post and initially reported on by the Daily Mail Friday. And that's Volodin there. Interesting looking character. Rosemont Seneca Technology Partners, which is Rosemont Seneca. Seneca is named after a place in New York where the Bidens are from, by the Finger Lakes. and he was partnered with another guy named Devin Archer, and I think that's where that Rosemont came from. So they created a company, Rosemont Seneca. So Rosemont Seneca Technology Partners invested $500,000 in the San Francisco pathogen research company Metabiota and raised millions more through firms that included Goldman Sachs, according to the emails found on the computer, which was abandoned at a Delaware repair shop in April 2019 as Joe Biden ran for president. Hunter introduced Metabiota to officials at Burisma, a Ukrainian gas company. Excuse me. And by the way, that is the one that Igor Kolomoisky has holdings in as well, where he was a board member, Hunter Biden was, for a science project involving biolabs in Ukraine, the emails show. A memo from Metabiota official to the then vice president's son in 2014 said that the company could assert Ukraine's cultural and economic independence from Russia. Isn't that cute? Aw, like father, like son. Metabiota Vice President Mary Gutierrez, like Polly Gutierrez from The Sopranos, also wrote to Hunter about geopolitical issues involving the company's research in the former Soviet Republic in April 2014, 2 months after Russia invaded and annexed the Crimea region. As promised, this is in quotes, I've prepared the attached memo, which provides an overview of Metabiota, our engagement in Ukraine, and how we can potentially leverage our team, networks, and concepts to assert Ukraine's cultural and economic dependence from Russia and continued integration into Western society, her memo read. Days later, Burisma executive Vadim Pozharsky, I think, wrote to Biden about a quote-unquote, as you called, Science Ukraine project, unquote. Quotes again, as I understand, the Metabiota was a subcontract to principal contractor of the DoD Black & Veatch, I assume. B&V engineering firm Black & Veatch. His email read, what kind of partnership Metabiota is looking for in Ukraine? And that is Pozharsky. The U.S. awarded $23.9 million to Metabiota later in 2014, with over $300,000 allocated for a Ukrainian research project. Government spending records showed. And they do give usaspending.gov link there. The younger Biden bragged to investors that his company organized funding for Metabiota and helped it get new customers, including government agencies, according to details. Black & Veatch had been commissioned in 2010 by the U.S. Defense Threat Reduction Agency, or DTRA for short, if you ever hear that, to build a lab in Odessa, which is southwest Ukraine, to enhance the government's existing surveillance systems to detect, report, and respond to bioterrorism attacks, epidemics, and potential pandemics. Hunter Biden's ventures raised the eyebrow of a former CIA officer. His father was the vice president of the United States and in charge of relations with Ukraine. So why was Hunter not only on the board of a suspect Ukrainian gas firm, but also hooked them up with a company working with bioweapons research? Sam Faddis told the Mail, which is, I guess, the CIA officer. It's an obvious Russian propaganda attempt to take advantage of this, but it doesn't change the fact that there does seem to be something that needs to be explored here. Let's see what we got here. This seems to be just like an overview of what's going on in Ukraine. And so we have Chernobyl there. Zaporizhia is another nuclear plant there. I think this is just an update of the stuff. It's not really related. Why is Hunter Biden in the middle of all this? Why is the disgraced son of the vice president at the heart of this, the guy with no discernible skills and a cocaine habit? Hunter Biden, 52, remains under federal investigation for possible tax fraud. The probe broadened in 2018 to look into how his international business dealings as a lobbyist and investor dovetailed. What? Dovetailed? I've never seen that word before. Sorry, guys, if I sound stupid by not knowing that. Dovetailed. Okay. All right. A joint formed by interlocking one or more such tenons of mortises in carpentry. Okay. And interesting word. Dovetailed with his father's political career. It has denied allegations of impropriety. So it looks like Hunter is in a lot of trouble here. A lot of trouble. Metabiota was awarded an $18.4 million contract by the Pentagon, the Daily Mail added. Emails showed that Hunter Biden claimed to be helping the contractor get new customers, as it alleges here. Metabiota. One thing about Metabiota. Metabiota. If I'm not mistaken, Nathan Wolf. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. He is the CEO of Metabiota. Nathan Wolf. And the old Ghislaine. You can see him right here with Ghislaine Maxwell. You can actually see a good few pictures with him. Or at least with him and people around those circles as well. Interesting stuff. He was also, if you go into founding citizens of Terramar, let's see, do they have the... Ooh, I don't have the list on me right now, but if you've... Terramar was the group that was owned by Ghislaine Maxwell, okay? And one of the founding citizens, which included a whole bunch of big names, right? Like huge names, which included like the drummer from Pink Floyd, like from all sorts of different groups. The CEO of Blizzard Activision, and these are just like the smaller names. There's a whole bunch of them from like the people that set up Glasgow and Rome environmental conferences that happened earlier last year or this year or whatever. There was a whole bunch of them on that. And one of the founding citizens was Nathan Wolf. Let's see if I can find that real quick. Nathan Wolf. Yeah. Wolf is also one of World Economic Forum founders Klaus Schwab's Young Global Leaders, a group of elite individuals placed into positions of power in order to enact the Great Reset agenda, and a founding member of Ghislaine Maxwell's bizarre and now defunct Terramar Project. And Terramar Project, that's got some crazy stuff. Type a 1 in chat if you guys don't know what Terramar is. If this is the first time that you've heard of Terramar, let me know. I just want to know. I just kind of want to gauge like how many of you guys have never heard of this before. See how well they've hidden it. Type a 1 in chat if you have not seen it before. Just let me know. And don't feel ashamed to say that you haven't seen it. It's totally fine. But it seems to be that these people are connected by these little NGO groups, and Terramar specifically is a very sketchy one, not only because of the people that were around Ghislaine Maxwell, but the fact what they were trying to do with it. They wanted to basically shut down the oceans as a global commons, and you could be part of it as a citizen of Terramar, like basically making the oceans a nation. You could be a citizen of it, but it was a way for them to start locking down the oceans. And when you start looking at the names of these, many of them being pedophiles, I'm not saying all of them, or whatever, suspected at the very least, you start realizing that these people were trying to shut down transportation in the oceans so they can get away with their trafficking. Is what was going on. What was going on there. But yeah, that is Hunter Biden's connections to Ghislaine Maxwell, as well as Kolomoisky, who is one of the oligarchs of Ukraine, and all of these lovely people that we've been hearing so much about, the Great Reset, it seems to be all coming together. As in these guys, and I mean, like, you guys probably knew it, but like we couldn't connect the dots quite as well to say 2 years ago as what we have now, right? This seems to be very pertinent. Everything seems to be connected to each other, all of this stuff. And it's not just some Pepe Sylvia, you know what I mean by Pepe Sylvia, right? Hold on. Like, it's not just us connecting all these things together. They seem to, every single time you look up something and you look up the funders, it's like USAID, NED, World Economic Forum, Davos. It's like they're behind it all. And more information is coming out. So I can see why they would want to keep everybody, especially when it comes to the invasion of Ukraine. You either have to be totally for Russia, or you have to be, well, the very few anyways, or you have to just stand with Ukraine and shut up and stop asking questions. It's making a lot of sense why they don't want you asking questions, because they don't want you getting the answers. That's for sure. That's for sure. We had nobody here? Oh, whoa, lots of people. You've never heard of Terramar? Whoa, okay. All right, so maybe, can I find something really quick just to catch you guys up? It's worth it. It's worth it, okay. Maybe BitChute will have some Terramar stuff. See, this one's really good, but it is 16 minutes. Then you have her speech where she advocates for the Terramar project. And she's like the worst speaker of all time. Just real quick, I just want to get into this. She is the worst speaker of all time. She's an idiot. Like these, well, not an idiot. Like a lot of, just like a lot of these people, they are possibly, they're really intelligent in some ways, but they are certainly not free thinkers, and they just get by with imitating what they think looks right. You know, and they have no understanding of what is right and wrong except for what they see in others. And you can see that really hardcore when you see these guys talk to each other. Oh, BitChute has a bad habit of like these speeches. You just can't find them. But anyways, let's see. Yeah, you know what? We'll go through this. Mouthy Buddha is a pretty good channel you guys should check out. And this does a great job at going through it. We'll go through this today.
I'm delighted today for the first time to be able to have the Weather Channel have a look at what's happening for the first time in history, actually, in the high seas.
Sorry, it's a bit loud.
Thank you so much, Gillian. And we've got wonderful new technology here at the Weather Channel, and we are able to deliver a point forecast for the Arctic high seas. Temperatures will, for the most part, only get up into the negative 20s Celsius through the entire week.
On July 2nd, 2020, an arrest was made.
FBI agents arrested Ghislaine Maxwell yesterday, nearly 1 year to the day after Epstein was arrested.
All signs pointed to this particular incident being the story of our time.
I think a lot of people are wondering, the big question overall is, what does Ghislaine Maxwell know about what Jeffrey Epstein is alleged to have done?
Unfortunately, most of the public opinion in the U.S. is controlled by media corporations. So as soon as the coverage of Ghislaine's arrest ended, social media stopped discussing it, and the coronavirus took center stage.
The Dow is set to open about 15 seconds from now. It is expected to surge on positive coronavirus vaccine news. You can watch the big board as it opens this morning.
But among all the gossip and brief media coverage, A crucial aspect of Maxwell's story has gone largely unnoticed, the implications of which, and the groups that surround it, are as vast as they are mysterious. This is Ghislaine Maxwell's Terramar Project. According to the New York Times, Terramar was a, quote, opaque organization that had no offices and gave no grants to other organizations. And shortly after Jeffrey Epstein was arrested, Terramar officially announced their closure. But what was the Terramar Project? At first glance, it would appear that the now infamous Ghislaine Maxwell had a soft spot for the environment.
We have created 5 gigantic gyres of plastic and garbage that swirl in the open ocean. This is the largest fishing net. It fits 12 Boeing 747s in its mouth. We don't know very much about the ocean, actually, it turns out. Less than about 1% of it has been explored. So however you feel about the creatures in the ocean, the more of them that we have, the better, the healthier, and the more resilient is our ocean.
One can easily agree with the sentiment of protecting the environment. But as you're about to see, Maxwell's Terramar Project isn't just about, quote, protecting the oceans, but controlling and owning them.
So the ocean is the next frontier. It's the next big debate. It's the next big grab of space.
The person who has been the inspiration behind the Sustainable Oceans Alliance, who has something called Terramar Project, she controls the oceans around the world. And therefore I invite my dear friend, Ghislaine Maxwell, to tell us how we can own the oceans. You have 3 seconds. Thank you.
I'll do my best.
Ownership and control of the world's oceans carries with it all kinds of possibilities.
They have the worst sense of humor too, don't they? Like, it's just brutal. Sorry, I'll go back to the moment I said.
You have 3 seconds. Thank you.
I'll do my best.
Ownership and control of the world's oceans carries with it all kinds of possibilities. Most of the human population has no idea what's going on in the depths of the sea. Maxwell, however, knows a thing or two about the high seas.
Started when I was a little girl. I grew up watching Jacques Cousteau on TV and became mesmerized with the oceans. It led to me becoming a deep worker submersible pilot.
But surely Ghislaine's ties to child trafficking have no relation to her, quote, Terramar Project. But this perspective begins to break down as soon as one browses the individuals and groups associated with the organization. According to Maxwell's recent testimony, Jeffrey Epstein supplied her with funding for Terramar. But that's obvious, right? But if we move along, we see that this picture shows Maggie Nixon with Barack Obama. The same Maggie Nixon pictured here. Who was in a film that was created by oceanographer Sylvia Earle.
Ever since I met Sylvia, I was absolutely enamored with her. Just really inspired with her love of the ocean and of exploring and creating like short films for each hope spot.
Great to see you.
You know, there's so many of your constituents who are out there that most people don't even know about.
I had a question for you, and that is, what's it like going down 1,000 meters?
I'd love to show you.
Huh? I mean, I've done some diving, but I think right around 100, I kind of say, okay, it's time to turn back.
This is the same Sylvia Earle that in early 2019 said, quote, I am thrilled to be a founding citizen of Terramar. Maggie Nixon was the granddaughter of Agnes Nixon, creator of the soap opera All My Children.
To you, Agnes.
And is the daughter of Sarah Nixon, who can be seen here tagged with a group of apparent friends. Notice the name Sarah and the username 3-Ring Circus. As you can see, the username checks out because we can verify that 3-Ring Circus on Instagram is in fact Sarah Nixon. But what's the big deal with this picture? It's certainly not suspicious to hang out with friends. Well, given that I've already been kicked off YouTube, now I can show you who Sarah Nixon appears to be having a lot of fun with.
owner of Comet Ping Pong in Washington, D.C. James, thank you so much for being here.
This insane conspiracy idea filled with just lies about this impossible international conspiracy of human traffickers involving Hillary Clinton.
It goes without saying that Alefantis surrounds himself with the highest of the elite class, many of whom mired in patterns of apparent Satanism and human trafficking. A rabbit hole I won't go down again, with the exception, however, of one of Alefantis' friends, Matt Hollenby. Matt is the program director of the Weiss Foundation, another, quote, nonprofit dedicated to protecting the environment, most notably the oceans. The Weiss Foundation receives its grant money from Oceana Incorporated, which is owned by the Pew Charitable Trust. And who runs the Pew Charitable Trust?
Tamara Luzzatto. Tamara, welcome.
Thank you.
Tamara is currently the Senior Vice President at the Pew Charitable Trusts, where she manages government relations for Pew.
Tomorrow? Like, they're all in on it. Okay? This is some crazy Pew Charitable Trust. Like, how many of these people are connected? And you got Obama, Sylvia Earle, which is a huge name, the lady for All My Children. Like, it's in all facets of our society. Anyway, we'll keep going through this because it is, you got to know more about this group, Terramar. It has been taken down since, and like they tried to wipe it from the internet. But if you go in through the archives, which I just don't have ready at the moment, because it's just too hard to find, you will find like a full list of these founding citizens. And the names will blow your mind. There's Rothschilds in it. There's a von Habsburg in it, which if you guys don't know, the von Habsburgs were the ones that controlled the Austria and Hungarian Empire back in the day. And like they're royals, right? And so many other names as well. But let's keep going.
Why don't you give your opening presentation?
Great. Thank you very much. And great to see everybody. Thank you for giving me a job.
Tamara Luzzatto made an appearance in John Podesta's leaked emails. Here she writes to John Podesta, quote, "We plan to heat the pool, so a swim is a possibility. Bonnie will be Uber service to transport Ruby Emerson and Meve Luzzatto, 11, 9, and almost 7. So you'll have some further entertainment, and they will be in that pool for sure." The way you perceive this email might depend on how you perceive Evie's Crib, a family blog that was ran by the same Tamara Luzzatto, and a related blog called Jack's Place. Notice the labels on Tamara's blog, which are used to help visitors find what they want. To name a few, baby Ambien, bones, filth, parental manipulation, psychopath, tranquilizers, slurp. In this post, Tamara writes, Evie will be joined in childcare by her buddy Jack, who she links here. This image on Jack's Place shows their baby with a sensor over his privates. Ken and Stephanie, who apparently ran this page, comment below, quote, "Unrated versions of this photo available only to premium subscribers." Jokes or otherwise, this is still more of the same deviant debauchery associated with infants and children coming from this group, and by this group, I mean the single most powerful people in the world. These families belong to vast, extended genealogies, and they fund and control the same non-profit organizations. For example, among Oceana Inc.'s board of directors include the Rockefeller family, a family almost always found near the most peculiar and powerful historical events and organizations. The Terramar Project, and those associated with it, is like a who's who of the world's global elite. Next, you're going to tell me that Terramar is associated with the Clinton dynasty, right? Military officer Scott Borgerson was listed as a board member of the Terramar Project in 2013.
So I'd like to begin with the topic of public-private partnerships.
Scott is the CEO of Cargo Metrics, a maritime innovation company attempting to, quote, digitize global shipping. The word maritime refers to seafaring commercial or military activity, and, quote, maritime transport has to do with the transport of goods or people via waterways. What separates Scott's maritime transport methods from others is its focus on artificial intelligence, with the goal of creating fully autonomous giant industrial self-driving ships, with particular focus on the international, quote, race for the Arctic.
So the Arctic again is becoming central as the ice recedes, opens up these oil and gas resources, and the potential for shipping shortcuts as well. I think that there's little clandestine activity happening in the Arctic, but the truth is we don't really know because the United States and Canada aren't really sure what ships are transiting there now. But I think it's a bit of a stretch to say that Al-Qaeda or international terrorism or other transnational crimes such as drugs or human trafficking will go through the Arctic because it's such a long, arduous, still cold place.
Why is this group so focused on the Arctic Ocean?
I would say a master plan would work because it would force capital and finance ministers and governors to and presidents to get together to make the basic projects in the Arctic happen.
My normal day starts waking up quite early, maybe about 5 o'clock, get my emails done in bed generally before Joan wakes up. Then I try to keep up with the news because we've got 1 or 2 organizations that are doing global issues, so it's very important I know what's going on in the world.
The Podesta leaks revealed that Richard Branson met often with his friends Hillary Clinton and John Podesta. And Branson's Necker Island is directly next to Epstein's Little St. James Island. Even The Guardian reported that Epstein had Branson's personal phone number.
And just real quick, Branson, and he's here with Mandela here, and there's Obama, there's pictures of him and Obama being in like a speedboat, stuff like that. Branson is the head of Virgin Islands. And he was one of the, one of the douchebags along with Bezos that they were traveling to space last summer or whatever. Yeah, he was one of them. And he's got his own photos of having the black eye and stuff like that, like the rest of them. Anyways, moving on.
One section of Branson's Island is called the Elders' Temple, a location where many older and still powerful people meet up to discuss their, quote, philanthropic endeavors.
We hope you enjoy your flight with Virgin Atlantic, and hope to be there in approximately 35. Are we there yet? Thank you and enjoy your holiday.
Branson's plane company is partnered with the Radcliffe Foundation, which is owned by Frank Giustra, who created the Elpida Project, the logo of which bears a striking resemblance to the boy lover pedophile symbol.
Just because you might be on a phone, you might not be able to hear it. What it's showing on screen is saying Richard Branson in a tweet, 2012, want to help save the ocean. Join us and become Terramar Project citizens. So the Virgin Islands billionaire, or the Virgin Airlines billionaire, is also part of Terramar.
I'd like to introduce some new students, Mr. Black and Mr. White.
No way! The government G-dude sent to steal our experiments for their secret covert operations.
No, dude, we're here for a righteous education and to meet babes.
Silly me. Wrong program. I tracked Bling Bling Boy to his parents' private island, 30 miles off the coast.
I've seen enough to be confident in the postulation that Terramar was set up to create a kind of separate society, or to facilitate one that already exists, a new world with its own laws, the locations of which scattered across several privately owned islands and clandestine sections of the Arctic Ocean, some of which could potentially be underwater. Human trafficking on a global scale, involving internationally connected intelligence agencies, politicians, and billionaires. I don't pretend to know why trafficking children seems to be a requisite for this elite group, but the reality that such an operation exists is undeniable to me. If the censorship regarding this topic should tell us anything, it's that we're almost certainly onto something unbelievably big. I truly believe this to be the case. I truly believe there are children currently surviving circumstances at the hands of evil, and suffering at a rate the likes of which I don't think I have the ability to properly imagine. And a large part of me feels my videos on this topic are not actually helping children currently in harm's way, but simply revealing how seemingly impossible it is to do so. While this could be true, our brief pain of feeling unable to help pales in comparison to the suffering endured by children all over the world who are at this very moment truly defenseless and truly suffering. If nothing else, what's most important is knowing in our hearts this is real and happening now, because it's only from there that progress can begin. So I ask, what do you think about Maxwell's Terramar project? What does your heart tell you?
Those two.
Come on, faster!
Sir, it's all taken care of. I think you're really going to enjoy these two.
Lay down! Come on, faster!
For a better day.
So that's Mouthy Buddha. Well, at least the sources. This is on Fearless Nation channel, but Mouthy Buddha's got like a ton of videos. Well, maybe not a ton, but like a good, at least half dozen of an elite human trafficking. You should check him out if you haven't already. Not all of it is a banger like this one, but most of them are. They're definitely interesting to look into. Something that you probably should look into. That was the Terramar project. I did do a video on this. Someone, I think Catherine just mentioned that. Grafenstapel says, funny how Poopy Pants' new SCOTUS pick is the same judge from the Pizzagate shooting. Yes, thanks for pointing that out. She's got her problems. And I think like a lot of this stuff, can you define a woman? What's this other one? There's a couple things that seem like they're just wagging the dog to get you away from that. Pizzagate, you know, there's a lot of BS that's been pushed in Pizzagate in order to throw people off the track or throw people off the scent, right? But there is some real crap that's going down with that. It's another thing. Don't believe everything you hear with Pizzagate, but there's a lot of it that you should be checking out because it is a big key to the Matrix. Just like how Ghislaine Maxwell is, and now what seems to be this whole Ukraine biolabs. I think that is a key to a Matrix. That as time goes, we're going to get a lot more information that basically blows all these people out of the water. Catherine said I did a video. Yeah, we'll get into actually, I'll play that video now in one moment. It's a shorter one. It's one of those info vids that I do. Didactics, I guess you can call it. So we'll play that now in 1 second, actually. I'll just want to make sure I catch up on the chat. Where have I heard the name Maggie Nixon? Yeah, that is the chick that was with Sylvia Earle. Good-looking girl. See if what's going on with her now. Actress and director. This is obviously some heavy NG. I mean, it's too much. Probably not going to get too much with this. Maggie Nixon was also crediting for directing the film Guadalupe White Sharks, where she also portrays herself. The film is about shark divers diving into water to study the life of sharks on Guadalupe Island. Isla, blah, 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 blah. The island is inhabited only by scientists, military personnel operating a weather station, and a small group of seasonal fishermen. Yeah. Yeah, you can just see how embedded like the entertainment and industry is with these groups who seem to have ties with USAID, with the UN, and the same types of NGOs and stuff like that as Terramar Project. CIA stuff. And I'd say a lot of it has to do with mind control and trafficking. What else do we got in the chat before I move to that video? Tamara, yeah. She reeks of corruption. Let's see, quite the web they've been weaving, that is for sure. Rockefeller looks like he might have an extra chromosome. I wouldn't surprise me. They're probably so inbred, half of these people, because they believe they have like noble blood and they don't want to mix it with others, right? Branson with the Neanderthal skull. It totally does look like that. Hold on. Let's see if I can find the black eye. Branson, black eye. Yeah. There he is. They all seem to get black eyes. There he is. Dressed up in, what do you call it? Attendance, flight attendant. And yeah, the old Black Eye Club. That is interesting. I don't know if that's something to throw us off or not. I don't know. They all seem to get black eyes. They all seem to get black eyes. But yeah, he does look like he has a Neanderthal skull, doesn't he? It's like the real bog pill. This is like, I don't know if, for those that aren't, because I know I get a lot of people from Pole here, but bog pill. It reminds me of that. These guys, they're scientists from France. I think Bogdan, son of Bogdan. They're called the Bogdanovs. And I think they're like they come from Russia, but they grew up in France. But that's another interesting thing to go down. And it's like filled with memes online because they're just so hideously ugly. But that is like their real fate. They've gotten so much plastic surgery. Hold on. Bogdanov before and after. Can we do that? I'm going down a little bit of a tangent here, but see, they were good looking guys, you know. Well, they weren't terrible looking anyways. And I guess they just never wanted to get old. A lot of these scientists, man, and their egos, they just can't accept the fact that they get old. So this is them. The before and after, it just gets worse and worse. It's so creepy. So creepy. I'm going to remove that. It's better to look, you know, it's bad when it's better to look at Madeleine Albright. Dom Pete. Fake degrees. Something funky with them too. Yeah, I agree. I suppose they have had an operation because of the oxidation from adrenochrome. It has to be removed, allegedly. Okay, maybe. Yeah, they could be frauds. They speak too fast in French, and my French is starting to get really rusty, so I can't really watch too much of them now. There's very little subtitles and stuff with them. Panda eyes. Now, panda eyes are that's a little bit different. I don't know how I can explain this on YouTube for those that haven't heard this. When these kid fuckers, so you get that part, when they do that thing, the pressure pushed in the kid damages them so much that it gives them black eyes from the inside. That's what panda eyes are, if I'm not mistaken. This one's a little bit different. Yeah, I don't even want to get in. I can't show that stuff. That is so gross. But if you want to look into that, you can. But yeah, I've heard of panda eyes anyways. Yeah, something's up with these guys. I agree. And why would you want to look like that? Okay, so I think they just get into this state where they they're so focused on having like decent skin or decent looking skin that they don't even realize how messed up their facial features are. And then like there's the sunk cost fallacy that probably plays in. You know, they've invested so much now, why turn back, or why stop what you're doing? Why admit that what you were doing before is wrong because you've invested so much into it? Why are they both doing it though? It's like, oh, it's creepy. It's creepy. Anything else I'm missing in chat? These effers, I'll just say, think they're characters from the Da Vinci Code, when in reality it's closer to the Silence of the Lambs. Definitely leading north. Definitely. Again, guys, check out this guy's channel, Leading North. If you're just getting in or whatever, you should just look up Leading North on YouTube, and he's got a plethora of information that will give you the background of how we've been lied to. I think he does a really good job on it. It's a criminally underviewed channel. I'll shill it one more time. Shill it one more time tonight. And then we'll get into that video that someone just asked me about that is related. Yeah, some really good stuff here. Really, really good stuff. And by the way, I love the Barrett's Privateers. I sang that when I was I used to be as a kid. I was a singer. And that was one of the folk songs that I sang for like a festival or a competition. We call it the Kiwanis Festival here. But he has some great stuff here. How do you feel about Tulsi Gabbard, by the way? I'd like to pick your brain on that, because you know how like Tulsi Gabbard is like one of the young global leaders or whatever? I think she says some good stuff. Don't get me wrong. But I think like beautiful is beautiful pics. That's what shows up first, really. WEF, young global leader. I don't have much faith in her, that's for sure. But there's a lot of stuff that she says that's really good. Hold on. Community, the young global leaders. Tulsi Gabbard. Did they take her off yet? Because she was there. She was indeed there. That's something I have to get into another time, but she was indeed. They're after wiping a few of them. They're starting to shut stuff down, aren't they? Okay, let's get in that video. The one that I made, that at the end it shows the Terramar project, but it also shows the networks. They want us to hate each other, I think. No. They want you to hate each other. Yeah, okay.
Last night, police say a man driving...
Okay, so it starts off with the natives thing or whatever. You may not know much about it, but I think I do a pretty good explaining even for those that are unaware of what was going on with the whole native fiasco up here over the past year or so. But yeah, I think it does pretty well. So.
Having a pickup truck purposely jumped the curb and mowed the family down.
We believe that this was an intentional act and that the victims of this horrific incident were targeted. We believe the victims were targeted because of their Islamic faith.
Are we being conditioned to act in anger and hate? What reasons could someone have to do this? Have you heard of the news of the residential schools in Canada?
The Tecumloops de Secwepemc First Nation isn't revealing the exact location, only that it was somewhere near this school, which opened in 1893 and was operated as a residential school by the Catholic Church until 1969.
It was devastating to hear this. The remains are many, many years old, decades.
Few details were released today, but Chief Roseanne Casimir says remains of 215 individuals were located.
Reports say the Tecumloops de Secwepemc have found the bodies, and Canadian police have given them full control of the investigation. So who are the Tecumloops de Secwepemc? Who and what funds them? Their website is fully functional and comprehensive, although links seem to be working, with one exception. Aside from the first link, every financial statement has been either removed or misplaced on the website. If you don't get a 404, you only get a blank page linking to itself. What a coincidence, but I'm sure these things happen. What partnerships does the Kamloops have outside of government? This is Raven. According to their website, they take on fundraising for groundbreaking challenges in partnership with Indigenous nations. This campaign, like all the others on the site, have a strong, if not priority, focus on conservation, sustainability, and management of both land and sea. Have any of these other Raven campaigns made headline news?
The arrest started before dawn. In all, RCMP took 6 people into custody and dismantled the camp.
Our dialogue with the Wet'suwet'en and other people in the community will continue.
So far, though, actions are replacing words. Protests against the arrest popped up in Vancouver, Victoria, and near Trenton, Ontario, blocking trains and access to a port. Still, images like these are unlikely to quell criticism from First Nations groups who support the hereditary chiefs and oppose the project.
On Raven's website, you'll find their actual fundraising is mostly larger gifts or donations to and from other connected groups, and then given to their conservation activist programs run by groups and bands like Wet'suwet'en and Sepwet'mek. But among all the NGOs celebrating what are mostly donations to each other, therein lies a group that only pays in, whose name becomes quite constant in all social justice causes and gets its donations from higher places. That's because Tides Canada, now known as Makeway, is not a Canadian company. It's in fact a branch of US-based Tides Foundation and Nexus, a massive fiscal sponsor of many social justice causes you've certainly heard of. And over the past 20 years, this network alone has funneled billions from the same privileged, mega-rich few into the same causes that keep us all divided. You will find the same templates of funding, themes, and phrases in almost every social justice cause, and almost every cause has major funding that can be traced back to Tides. Sorry, I'm just going to pause it just for 1 second. So look at this network, all right? We say the little hats, yeah, and I get it. Little hats, there are little hats involved indeed. So you have Open Society Foundations and Soros, okay, who then fund Tides, Open Society being one of them, but as you saw, there was a whole bunch of them that funded Tides, right? Rockefeller's then funds what's called the Jewish Voice for Peace, same thing for Tides that get their money from Soros, okay? Then that group funds Students for Justice in Palestine, right? Tides then funds Westpac, which then funds that. And then Westpac then funds Palestinian youth movement. These barbs that you'll also find everywhere in Ukraine, right? These barbed wire links. You see that everywhere, and you get the same funding from the same people. BDS, Boycott, Divest, and Sanction. They're funded by Students for Justice in Palestine, Jewish Voice for Peace. So, like a lot of these other ones that are more dicey, the youth movement and BDS, the ones that are more militant and more aggressive, they are removed a couple times away from groups like Tides. They don't want their name directly on it. But if you keep going back through who funds them and then who funds those people, you will always find these people. Rockefellers, Soros, Rothschilds. There's a whole, not so much Rothschilds, they're a little bit more high level. Sorry, I shouldn't have said that. But Kellogg, the Kellogg Foundation, Ford Foundation, these groups, Carnegie, there's a whole bunch of them. But usually, more often than not, you'll find Rockefellers and Open Society Foundation or one of Soros' other ones. So you have Palestine, right, being funded by little hats, right? And these groups, they're screaming, Israel will fall, or whatever. They're funded by Jews, right? Like, this is crazy, crazy stuff. And it's stuff that, like, the average person can't wrap their head around, right? Like, you're either Semitic or anti-Semitic, or you're either Zionist or anti-Zionist. But no, they're funding both sides, They're funding both sides of this equation so that they can just get, it's about getting people to hate each other. That's it. And they do the same thing. Like, I know it started kind of slow, but they do the exact same thing with these groups, like that Raven group that I was talking about. They're doing it with natives and non-natives here in Canada. In America, they're doing it with Black Lives Matter, as you could see. 1 second. Yeah, if you didn't see before, Black Lives Matter Global Network Foundation, which is the primary head of BLM, the parent organization and the fiscal sponsor is Tide Center. They're the ones funding this stuff. And if you go back to that little network that I have there, Tides is right here, and they're funded by Rockefeller and Open Society Foundation. And Soros and his colleagues and counterparts. So why the same familiar conflicts and distractions? Is there something else they don't want you to know about? This is Terramar, created by Ghislaine Maxwell. As the NGLs like to say, if you don't know about her, you better do your research. Jonathan Soros is one. This is the website that I was talking about. If you search through the terramarproject.org and you go back to the 15th of July, you can actually see it for yourself. I highlight a few of the names, but there's many of them on there that'll blow your mind. Like, for example, Bobby Kotick. If you play any Blizzard games like World of Warcraft, StarCraft 2, any of these games, right? There's the head of that. That's the Habsburg right there. And Terramar was funded by Tides and Rockefellers. If you only knew how bad things really are. So yeah, that's called They Want You to Hate Each Other. If you want to go, because I know there's a lot of information thrown at you in this one. If you want to go further into it, there's the link to that there. Let's see what you guys got to say. Where are we at now? We're almost at 12 Eastern. I try and clue things up at around 12 Eastern. Tides is also etymologically connected to the seas again. Yes, and I tell you what to look out for as well when you're looking for symbolism. The waves, right, that you'll see here, right? You have the same on the Terramar. This is the Terramar flag. Right, and look at the Cornwall. Look at G7 in Cornwall. Right, they have the same waves. You could like lap them over each other. It's the same thing. Also, keep a lookout for a broken blue sphere, like a blue ring, and in that logo, at some point, it's broken by either color or another shape. It seems to be a very common theme that I see. One thing that I noticed when I was going through Dream Blue Foundation, I think it was called. Dream Blue Foundation. Yeah. What was the which one? It was in my CIA Exposed. It was the Eurasia or Eastern Europe Foundation, the EEF. That's where that was. Dream Blue was founding that. And I noticed that too. But if you go into that website with terramarproject.org and you find there's other partners, like not just people, but like the other companies and stuff like that, almost all of them had a broken blue sphere. I still don't understand. I haven't wrapped my head around it. I don't have enough information to give you on this, but maybe you guys can figure it out on your own too. but this is what I keep finding. There's waves involved, and is a broken blue sphere. Every time I start looking up child trafficking groups and groups that could be involved with them, I keep finding this. And it might just be me being paranoid or something, but I don't think so. I don't think so. I don't have anything like lined up for you guys at the moment, but maybe I can have it for next one. I tend to deliver when I can remember it anyways. Sounds Jesuitical in origin. Wouldn't surprise me. Wouldn't surprise me at all. This is so important to me as a Canadian. Oh yeah, check that out, dude. Check that out. The only people I've seen really cover it was like Lauren Southern, and did you go into the Lauren Southern video on this? Like, she didn't mention anything about tides, Raven, anything like that. Nothing like that. She's just like, the Catholics are being persecuted by the anti-Catholics. And I mean, I don't know if you know about Lauren Southern, but she's a Catholic. Let's take a look real quick. Wow, how horribly can I misspell her name? And just how all of these people, her, Faith Goldie, Jordan Peterson, how many of these names popped up right around the election of Donald Trump? They all popped up at the same time. They all became super, super popular in that 2015 to 2017 range. And in my opinion, I think she is controlled opposition, like the rest of them that you see. And she's meant to be like that limited hangout. Guys are going to get into her because she's a good-looking girl. Well, at least somewhat good-looking. Good-looking enough to attract people. And her and Faith Goldie, remember, they basically helped to get people into Unite the Right. They were like big on that. An event at which Augustus Sol listen to this. Okay, so during March 2016, she had visited Vancouver for an event at which Augustus Sol Invictus. Now listen, if the person that was just mentioning, what do you call it? Jesuits. All right, you should know who Sol Invictus was, right? It's like the next step of Saturnalia. Just real quick, Sol Invictus, the unconquerable sun is that name. I spelt it wrong. You have the sun god, and that's where you have the rays, the sunburst around the head. That's where that came from. The sunburst. Okay, and it was kind of an evolution of Saturn to become an early monotheistic god. When they had Saturnalia, it became the celebration was still there, even though they got rid of Saturn or whatnot, Saturn worship. They kept Sol in, and it was the day of the unkillable sun, or whatever it was called, is what Saturnalia became. And you see the sunburst, that reminds you of something, then, and if you think, if one of them is Statue of Liberty, then you would be correct in making that connection. That's where it comes from, because it takes the pantheon of gods and puts it into one with Sol Invictus. But anyways, I digress, because that's another thing. And then you also have Augustus, okay? So like the one that created the empire, right? Augustus Caesar. So he was banned or whatever, and this is when she got that bottle of pee poured on her, as they were saying there, arguing for two human genders. Here's another thing too, because this name is popping up like crazy these days, because he's Russian and he is like pro Moscow or whatever, right? His name's being pushed. Last time I heard his name was Southern was doing an interview with somebody who brings up Dugin, and I didn't even know about this, but back in 2018, she also went to Moscow, Russia to meet Alexander Dugin. And Dugan. Dugan is a member of the OTO. Okay? 1 second. Do they say Ortis here? No. Satanism? All right. For just to get like real quickly into it, this whole Dugan thing, guys, and for those that are on poll, he's pushed a lot, so don't just buy into it right away, okay? In 1980, Dugan joined the Uzinski Group, an avant-garde dissident group which dabbled in Satanism and other forms of the occult. In the group, he was known for his embrace of Nazism, which he attributes to a rebellion against his Soviet raising, as opposed to the genuine sympathy for Hitler. He adopted an alter ego with the name San Sever, a reference to Wolfram Sievers, a Nazi researcher of the paranormal. So he's just, again, just like Azov Group or whatever, he is the other head of the coin, the other side of the coin. Dugan, let's see if I can find this real quick. Dugan, OTO, Ortis. And while that's searching, another thing I want to show you. Personal life. As of 2020, Southern lives in Sydney, Australia, with her Australian husband and her child. Her husband is part Asian and is credited with introducing her to his Catholic faith. I think she was there beforehand, but yeah, she is Catholic. She is Catholic. Let's see. Now that we're going into this, Alexander Dugan. Here, let's Ordo Templi. Ordo Templi Orientis. Yeah, it's going to take a while to find this. I'm going to have to move back from this, but OTO, who I think OTO you can trace to Aleister Crowley and his family. You can also find in Karl Kellner, Heinrich Klein, Franz Hartmann, and Royce as well. So that is another, it's a very, it's an occultic group. Okay. And you can find a lot of Freemasonry involved with it under the leadership of Aleister Crowley. OTO was reorganized around Crowley's Thelema as its central religious principle. One of the major features and core teachings of the organization is its practice of sex magic. So this is a big part of it. If you guys know much about, like if you've heard of like the phrase, do as thou wilt shall be the whole of the law, this is where it comes from, or at least through Crowley's Book of the Law. If I'm not mistaken, the Star Trek creator was a member of this as well. I wonder if they give us... No, they don't give us any names here. Just Crowley. And you can see a strong connection to Gnostic Catholicism with the OTO. So a lot of stuff that I got pushed in there for the day. But OTO, if you haven't heard of these guys before, start digging on these guys, because this is the spiritual concepts between a lot of the occult that we see with both sides of the coin, like the left versus the right, the including also the Ukrainians versus the Russians. And we have, I'm pretty sure I'll be able to dig up enough for you that links Dugan to the O2O as well. But he's got enough of his connections anyways. He's got enough of his connections. Let's see. Let's see what you guys are saying. We'll probably do a last call on comments. I'm sorry this one is going to be short today because I started late, but I don't want to go too late into the night for these things, just for the people that, do stay up, they wait. But, so I got a lot of people in like Europe and stuff, and I just want to keep that part, the end time, regular or whatever. I will set up one, and I'm very sorry to those that were waiting for me and I wasn't on today. But I'll set up one for, we're going into Sunday, so let's do Tuesday night. I will start at 8 o'clock. No, 7 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. We'll do that. I'll have it put on the calendar or whatever, and you can check it out. And I'll have videos out before then to give you a reminder and stuff like that. And we'll go straight up until this time on Tuesday night. Let's see. Let me make sure I'm not missing any comments. Tulsi is an actor, so I'm way behind. Sorry, guys. Okay, Penn eyes. Thanks for using the correct nomenclature, kid fuckers. Yeah, there will be no maps uttered here. That's for sure. The Western Paradigm on GTV did a deep down dive on the bog creatures. Really? Man, some of those videos on the bogs, like way back, I don't know if they still have them on the internet. Let's see. Just real quick. Someone asked me for the link for Leading North. I'm going to post it there. Leading North, you're still here. You can go ahead and shill your own. Bog pilled. Bog pill. So because they're so incredibly ugly, people have made memes about them, and it makes me wonder if they are pushed, if they're astroturfed, because they talk about a lot of different stuff. So it's supposed to be loud. Control France with an iron fist. Own castles and banks globally. Direct descendants of the ancient royal bloodline. This is like from copy pasta. This video is nowhere near as good as some of them. But yeah, it does kind of serve as like a wagging the dog against learning about what's actually going on in the world. We'll bankroll the first cities on Mars. Bogdangrad will be the first city. Okay, enough of that. I had to go back down the bog pill route just once more. Sorry about that. All right. She's a young global leader. Speaking of Tulsi Gabbard, she ain't my gal. Yeah. She says a lot of stuff that makes a lot of sense. I'm glad that she does it. It kind of reminds me of the same kind of angle as Russell Brand right now. That it's looking to build your trust. So you got someone to listen to and say, hey, at least someone is speaking out for us. But really, in the back end, she's with WEF and CFR as well. Yes, she was with CFR. That's another thing. Can't forget that. CFR is extremely important. The Council on Foreign Relations. Extremely important. Also, Mark Zuckerberg tweets of his time on St. James Island and how he had such a great time observing and taking adrenochrome. He admits it. Whoa, did he? We'll have to look into that. Zuckerberg adrenochrome tweet. I got a feeling. Fact check. Yeah, okay. Okay. Not a huge fan of Godlike Productions, but I trust them about as much as I trust the fact checks. Oh my goodness. What does this honeypot become? – . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . we go back. Tell you what, do you got a link for me? I know I'm pretty behind, so I'll catch up now. Does this one mention adrenochrome? No. Wagging the dog on me. All right, what do the fact checks say? All right. The fake post, fake post, fake post. Sarah Thompson. Sure, your name is Thompson. Okay, I mean, obviously, I'm not taking the word of a fact checker. We know who are behind fact checkers. But I will keep an eye out for you mentioning a link that would show it. Until then, I'll say it's not debunked, but I can't take your word just yet. Your YouTube channel is lame. Your BT channel. Post a link, man. Post a link. Leading North, giving us the good stuff, the spicy stuff. Do it up, man. You should show everybody Steve-O's disgusting tattoo that he had covered up to be an ostrich. Oh. Steve-O tattoo before ostrich. How about that? Ah. This is the one here on his chest. And then he's got a fish with Satan on it. So cool. So cool. Where have I seen this before? A dash going through an M. But is this the one? And it's got the pentagram, but with a heart and a PP. I can't believe I thought these people were cool growing up. We were all fooled. No, I can only speak for myself, sorry. But I grew up to like Jackass and stuff like that. Thinking like these were like awesome dudes. When it's just degeneracy. Total and absolute degeneracy. Oh, the winged penis. Okay, so that's not just like grossness. There's more to that. Roman Empire. Or hold on. Where did the winged penis exactly come from? Winged phallus. So this was like a good luck charm that people would carry around, actually. This was pretty popular, actually. I forget the origins of it. I assume it's Dionysian. Or, yeah, I guess Dionysus. And then you have Attis. Yeah, Attis as well. Okay, so Attis and Bacchus, both of them, I think, dismembered themselves from the Cybele figure. That it was the woman that drove them crazy. Their love for the woman drove them crazy. And they cut off their penis. I think it's also associated with Cupid, as you can probably see here. You got the young one. But yeah, this is like, it's not just like some weird, like, oh, he's so funny and weird. He put a winged penis on him. But yeah, no. This is A very old occultic symbol. This is from the Greek times. So Bacchus, maybe. Fascinum. To cast a spell. Fascination. Dionysus. Yeah, okay. I was right the first time. Warded off sickness with it. Dionysus was a god of death, and as well, when you get into the occult, especially with the ancient mythology, you'll find that a lot of these gods, if they were the god of death, they could also be the god of life. If they were the god of health, they could also be the god of sickness, right? You'll find a lot of that duality. That's another thing that when you go into the occult, you'll find a lot of that. Not that I recommend really looking into the occult, to be honest. Kind of drove me crazy doing it. But they really, really focus on this kind of stuff. All right. I'll have to move on from that. Probably take the winged dicks off. Probably all of the occult. Do I have anything decent here? Ah, so beautiful. All right, we'll keep it at that. She's the back new Obama. Yeah, maybe. I think she is a little more intelligent than Obama. Obama's not really a smart guy. I think she is a smart lady. Dan Crenshaw as well is part of the WEF. Yep. Yeah, and you saw him. He revealed himself. Like a lot of these conservatives revealed themselves with their push to go against Ukraine. And it's because they're all working together with through these groups. Yeah. Avidan Tulsi is an actor. She has a role to play on the bigger stage. I think she's used up as far as influencing Democrats. Yeah, but also not just influencing Democrats. Yep, you're right. To influence the Democrats, she remember like when she absolutely sunk Kamala Harris's presidential bid. Not that it takes much to do that, but they gave her cred so that she could influence Republicans. Didn't she just speak at CPAC? Wasn't she just at CPAC? Just check this out. CPAC, Tulsi Gabbard. Like she has more influence now with. Yeah, she was at CPAC 28 days ago. But she's also really like she's got some real leftist views. And the radical centrist WEF stuff as well. Because WF is not just communist, it's not just fascist or whatever. It's centrist. It's meant to look like the rational both sides of things coming together. That's how they create the chaos around the world that we see today, so that they look like they know what they're doing, even though they don't. They're a bunch of morons, right? But you put Tulsi in there, she's bright, she's a good-looking woman, right? And she could attract a lot of these dudes on the right, conservatives, to start looking at her and say, hey, maybe her ideas aren't so bad. So I think it's meant to. I think her job is to shift the Overton window by throwing out some truth bombs, because a lot of the stuff she says I agree with, right? I'm not just gonna be a contrarian and say everything she says is wrong, but you got to ask yourself, why is she doing this? And I think she has a lot of sway now with conservatives, even though she has a lot of leftist views. So I think that's her thing. The natives are now going to meet the Pope on the taxpayers' dime for reconciliation for the graves, yet no graves were found. Yes, that's something to point out. No graves were found whatsoever. They just keep talking about them, saying they found them, but there's no investigation. We can't see for ourselves, right? If we were to ever ask, we're just, racist bigots, whatever. And for some reason, it's super important that the Pope meets with them, right? So, like, here you are. You've been abused by the Catholic Church for hundreds of years. You still are. right? You were up, you know, still to this day, but like even as far as back like as like 50, 40 years ago, it was like massive endemic, you know, of abuse. Not just natives, but they are one of them, right? And you're seeking the validation from the people who abuse you. Why? We're all going to come together and sing Kumbaya. That's what's going on. Because this whole thing, this whole operation, I believe, is contrived by the Pope. Or not by the Pope, but Papist Vatican. They will use her on the Republican side. Yeah. That's what I'm talking about, Jason Plummer. Catherine Merrill says, APT reported today that an indigenous elder will be visiting the Popo next week for an apology. Well, ain't that great? Ain't that great? Why do you need an apology from these people? They don't care about you. They have money to burn, you know. Maybe if I knew it was all one word, don't be a dick. I'm not sure what it was. Tides also etymologically connected to the seas again. Yes, sorry, I already brought that one up. This is so important to me as a Canadian. Okay, sorry. Meeting with its abuser when it comes to meeting the head of the Catholic Church. What do they think they are going to accomplish? Waste of money. Exactly what I just said. Yeah. It took the words right out of my mouth. It seems ever since Arafat, and he was still corrupt. Yasser Arafat? Oh, with Palestine. Yeah. It's been controlled. It's been controlled from a very long time ago. And what it does is whenever Israel, because listen, the first victims of the little hats, in my opinion, right, are the citizens of Israel. The vast majority of those people are not in some cabal to take over the world. Okay? And I'm not saying that none of them are. I'm saying that the vast majority of them are the first victims of this cabal. Okay? Does that make sense so far? They need to keep those ones in line, first and foremost. Okay? So what they get shelled with for propaganda is endless talk about anti-Semitism, Holocaust, and to keep things current, that there is a current threat, they pay off Palestinian groups like Hamas and all these groups, right, to remain a threat, so that whenever these Israeli leaders and the bankrollers get in trouble, they just pop this current problem up over and over and over to stigmatize the people of Israel, so that they stay under the thumb of these little hats, the little, you know, the oy veys, you know. This is how they keep them in control. Yeah. TM is 33. Terramar. Oh, okay. TM is 33. 20 and 13. Yeah, it is. How about that? They are creating a divide. My daughter has to pay for her lunch every day at school, yet the native kids get theirs for free. They're creating the divide on purpose and starting early. Yes, they are creating the divide on purpose so that they keep animosity between us and whatever they want to do. I think there is a balkanization that they're going to do here with the native lands and stuff like that. We're giving land back to the natives and stuff like that. Oh man, when you talk symbolism, I start feeling on the spectrum. Yeah, well, I mean, it takes an autist to get in through all that and start trying to understand it, to be honest. They do that on purpose to make call for more equality, so eventually they can kill all the different cultures and blend it into one. Bingo. Bingo. Lauren Southern is a crypto wedge. I like how you write that. Is she? I've never seen any info on that. Maybe. What did she grow up as? I'm willing to listen. It's possible. I remember Lauren. She was a good character in the show. Yeah, she was a cutie. She was easy on the eyes, right? She was easy on the eyes. I'm in Ontario and I had to cancel my local farmer's box of produce as they got into supporting causes. Yeah. I wanted to support the local farmers, not these divisive causes. Yeah. The thing with the farmers, they had, well, maybe not so much in Ontario, but in Alberta and Saskatchewan and stuff. Remember they had like those commies back in the day? They had a lot of support from the farmers. What was the name of that? Before the NDP, there was a party, and they came out of the farmers. So yeah, we got a lot of corruption in those areas as well. I didn't know that it stretched so far out as Ontario, though. That's sad to hear, man. But you know what? That's also part of it. So they probably had some like local commie group or whatever you want to call it, right? Local NGO go over there and say this is the right thing to do, and if they didn't do it, they put pressure on them, right? But I think that this is part of it too. They realize that the majority, and I truly believe this, maybe you don't, the majority does not want this crap, okay? They just won't say anything. They don't want to rock the boat. This is human nature, right? So everybody jumps on board this campaign because they feel pressured if they're a business, okay? Right? And it ticks people off, whoever goes into it. But the big names, the big brands, the big companies, they can all survive taking this hit. They're all run by, millionaires and billionaires, right? They're all run by that. So they can take the hit, and they realize that there's going to be a global economic catastrophe anyways. That's just the result of fiat currencies at some point, right? And that time is now, right? So they can take the hit of this social justice cause stuff, right? But these small companies can't. They can't take a boycott like, Richard Branson or Mark Cuban, right? They can't take those hits, right? So I think by design, all of this social justice stuff is one way for these billionaires or whatever, pedophiles, whatever, it doesn't matter. You know what I'm talking about, the elite class, to nudge out these small companies so they can be bought out by BlackRock and Vanguard, all of these groups that they own. That's what I think is going on. I think the social degradation is it's causing a mass selling of small business. And the Koof didn't help with that either. And a whole bunch of different things didn't help with that. 2008 didn't help with that. She wears too much makeup? Yes, she does. I don't think she's that good looking, to be honest, Lauren Southern. And she's hitting the wall fast. But anyways, enough of that. I don't want to get too shallow. Leading north, I don't know how to take that frown and you agreeing with me or disrespecting. Not sure. You guys figure it out. Be nice to each other. Like Apollo. Yes, Apollo is another example of that. He was a sun god. Or at least he was based partially off a sun god. Yes. Think he is into pagan religions. That in Augustus Sol Invictus with a name like that, you better be sure of it. Everybody should hit the like button. Oh, hey, man. Thank you. Appreciate it. Always a Jesuit confessor in there somewhere. Yes. Or coadjutor, I guess you mean to say? Yeah, for sure. They're always around. What was the quote? Upon turning any stone, you will find a Jesuit coadjutor or something like that. I forget what they say. Laleki Notnik, welcome to the channel. Have yourself a wrench so that you can post links. Sorry I'm a little bit late on that, and sorry to everybody I am a little bit behind, I know. Lauren Southern's real name is Simonson? Is it really? It's not like doxing someone to do this, is it? Simonson. Okay, there's that video. What happens if I do that? Okay, I'll bite. Oh, of course you can't play it. BitChute is so bad for this. Like this eternally loading thing. This is not my computer. It's not my computer. Like, watch. See, that loads. If I click on right, if harness meditation to rise in our face of challenges. See,
So my name is-
BitChute is not down. BitChute is not down, and it's not my computer. This is how they censor people on BitChute, because they don't want people to migrate from this ghetto. Because that's what, I mean, I like BitChute. I think it has its problems, but like, it's all right. I prefer Odyssey, to be honest, but they can't get people to migrate from here. They want people to stay so they can collect their information, but they still have to be able to censor truth and things that will expose things, right? So YouTube will just outright censor you because they want people like this off the channel. They want it off YouTube, right? And that's why I kind of stay here mostly. I like being that stick in their craw. But for BitChute, this is how they censor people. They're just like, whoops, oh, this video's gone. Oh, I don't know what happened there, bruh. No clue, bruh. That's how they do it. Cool. Well, anyways, that gives me that is something to look into then. Thank you very much. This is telling me that something's on the right track here. Whatever, maybe it's not necessarily what you said, but something's on the right track to look into, and I don't trust Lauren Southern. So thanks for that. Appreciate it. Who was that? Camo said that. All right. Score one for the little hats. All right. Let's see where I am. Oh my goodness, I'm so far behind. My bad. Okay. I've done Gold Thumb. Hey, thank you, Lady Northman. Good to have you. Always good to have you. Crowley died halfway through a ritual. Yes. And apparently his son died as well as part of a ritual, if I'm not mistaken. Virtual Asylum says, Avidan, let's take all the secret orders and everything off the table. When it just comes to mainstream religion, what is the most nefarious group in my opinion? Scientology. Does that count as mainstream religion? I think that's the most, like, at this moment, the way that they operate. And they're kind of dying off. But I think Scientology, which if you look into it, CIA, right? But it's CIA mind control. But this is the one that like will steal all your money from you. It will reprogram you, right? MK Ultra style. And it will give you a lot of good stuff to it, like communication and things like that. But like you'll be a slave to them, a total slave. Mormons, they give you a crappy religion and like they take 10% of your money. Scientology will take all your money. That's probably the worst one, right? I think all the same though, Catholicism is probably still big. I mean, like even without the occult, its evil is very subtle. It's very subtle, and it has amassed an enormous amount of wealth. That's probably my answer there. If you're looking at like egregiously horrible, right? Scientology. Catholicism, there's still probably, I think that there could be saved people in the Catholic Church. I think you have to be kind of really dumb and not notice a lot of stuff. But you can go your whole life in the Catholic Church and not be part of the evil that's in it, right? But there's a lot of evil in it. There's a lot of evil in it. So I guess that's my dual answer. I hope that answers it. I went down quite the Crowley hole as a teenager in the 80s and backmasking on Led Zeppelin records. Oof. Yeah, Crowley he's left his footprint, right? And then you have Anton LaVey that like double dosed the counterculture of like the 60s through the 80s. Seen one talk of his on Ukraine crisis, but his arguments were very weak and nonsensical to me. Dugan. Yeah, and they're pushing him hardcore. If you're on Cartfen, if you're on Poll, they're trying to push him hard. And same thing with the Lauren Southern. She was pushing him pretty hard as well. There's a reason for it. Let's see. Thanks again, Avidan, says Dragon Man Sassin. Good to see you, man. Good to see you. Love Led Zeppelin. I was never a big Led Zeppelin fan. Like, I mean, they're so eclectic that you can't hate everything, right? But I was just, I don't know. I was never as impressed as some people. Maybe it's because they were a bit too eclectic, so like I couldn't really grasp onto something. You know, I don't know. I hate all music now, knowing what I know. Dude, I hear you. I find it very hard to get into any music. I kind of like finding the meaning or something. Like, I like taking a song and then putting pictures to it. That's why I like making those videos. Stuff like that. That's the only way I can enjoy music now, is like me trying to inject my own meaning into a song. That's the only thing. Leading North has a BitChute channel. Dropping it. Nice. Okay. Let me, because I know you deserve more people. Okay, I got it pinned. I can't open it right now. I got to get through the rest of this stuff. You dig rock and roll, then you find out the bunch of them are a bunch of dickhead Satanists. Yeah, you know, I know Grateful Dead isn't really rock and roll, but I was just going through a video. Let's see if I can find this now. Bookmarks. John Brockman. All right, so these guys call out Grateful Dead as being a CIA experiment, or like the people that were in it were in a bunch of CIA stuff. All right, so this video, we can't get into it. It's like 2 hours long. It's called Das Netz. It's German. It's got subtitles, but it goes through like a ton of CIA stuff. It goes through the Unabomber, Ted Kaczynski, things like that. There's a reason why they want you to think that Ted Cruz is the Unabomber, or is the Zodiac Killer, sorry. And like all of these guys, they try to attribute false people to it, and they don't want you talking about this stuff. It's because they're uncovering the occult that's in with the CIA. They're trying to cover it over. Sorry, I just mixed two of them together. My bad. I'm bad for that. But yeah, the Unabomber and things like that, they want you to only just look at him and just be done with it. But there's something on the go with the Unabomber. And this documentary does a good job. I wouldn't be surprised if one of them got killed for making this video. Check it out if you got a couple hours on spare time. We are finishing up soon anyways. Let's see. Most were military brats. Yes. Jimi Hendrix. Jim Morrison. There's a whole bunch of these rock and roll guys that were military brats. And you better be sure that they had to do it with CIA as well. Or at least, you know, one step of separation. That's about it. The Boggs went on a talk show where the host was condescending them, and then the dude had a heart attack within minutes. Really? Sucks because I've been a musician since I was a kid and didn't realize, but always hated everybody throwing up the devil horns at concerts and stuff. Used to piss me off. Still does. Yeah, man. I wonder, like, if rock and roll was started by them. If not just taken over directly or whatever. Everybody throwing up the devil horns. Like, I remember, like, when I was a kid, I would, like, throw up the devil horns, stick my tongue out, because I just thought it was cool. I was a little poser, you know, but never did I realize what I was doing. But it's so commonplace in with these guys, right? They have the majority going right now. AOC is there if the message swing back left, but they are pushing Tulsi just like the brand on the right. I think they will fall for it. Yeah. There's a lot of people, man, and I get it because the left is so crazy that these people on the right, you just don't suspect it. You think that this is the voice of reason, right? But really, they're just as controlled. Good comment, Jason Plummer. Dorf Googlestein. I taught myself to play guitar the last couple of years, and I learned the Led Zeppelin Nobody's Fault But Mine lick, and when I went and listened to it and checked the lyrics, and I was pissed. Oh, really? I haven't gotten into it. AOC is such a sulfuric Sephardic. That's great. That's great. Have you seen the CYM Corp adrenochrome files? No. No, I haven't. We'll quickly load that up while I go through more comments. I got to catch up to you guys. Paige was super into Crowley. Jimmy Page? Yeah, so many of them. And Anton as well. Here's another thing. Like, it's not just rock and roll. My goodness me, my shadow, and me. Sammy Davis Jr. Is that how you say his name? And the Candyman can. Anton LaVey. There's Sammy Davis. Oh, and this guy. Oh, dang it. What's this guy's name? He is a general. He's a general in the army, and he was a Satanist. What was his... Aquino? Satanist. Aquino? Yeah. Michael Aquino. He's not a general. I'm sorry. He was a colonel. But that's him right there. In the Army. The U.S. Army. And there's Sammy Davis Jr. And there's Anton LaVey. I've played this before, but it was months ago. Sammy Davis with Eddie Murphy Seinfeld. Yeah, check this out. Eddie Murphy talking to Jerry Seinfeld about his encounter with Sammy Davis Jr.
Sammy Davis and that kind of shit, you know. They were still around.
What was he like?
Just like you would expect him to be.
Cool. He was a hep cat, right?
Just like he is all the time. You know what I realized about Sammy? That was coke. The whole thing with the mouth like this.
It was?
Think about it. That whole era is cocaine.
I don't know anything about drugs.
Sammy is like this with that cocaine mouth. Man, and the way he would laugh and hug and all that. He was totally coked up. That was all cocaine, man. That was a cocaine thing. Sammy told me he worshiped the devil. We were in Dan Tana's on that restaurant with all the pictures up. Sammy was like, you know, Satan is as powerful as God. And I was like, what the fuck are you talking about? He says, why do you think there's so much anger in the world and killing and murder and Satan? And he saw my reaction to it, and he kind of lightened up on it, buddy. And he was like, in Dan Tana's, it's dark, and it's the candles on the table, and Sammy's face over the candle. You know, Satan is as...
Yeah, so it's like in all sorts of stuff. It's not just rock and roll, man. You can't get away from it. Hidden temple in the basement, big metal doors. Well, you certainly piqued my interest there, Tron Fukyu. Oh, studio. Hold on. And let's get to, just before real quick, someone gave me adrenochrome files, data dump, child trafficking. Okay, lots of files with this. I'm going to keep this for later, but thank you very much for anybody that wants to look in this. CYM Corp, adrenochrome files. Okay, so apparently this is a temple behind a hidden door. Oh, it's got a real bunker feel to it, doesn't it? Yeah, no windows. You can't figure it out. Oh, snap. Oh, yeah. Crazy video. Thank you, Tron. I wonder how many of those that are around. Did you read what it said on the Mark Zuckerberg picture? You need to read what it says. Oh, I'm sorry I missed it, man. I don't know if I can recall it now. Zuckerberg adrenochrome, I guess. Zuckerberg. Although many humans find participating in and observing sexual congress to be both pleasurable and fulfilling, I sometimes find it challenging to observe subsequent removal of adrenochrome from the smaller participants, as illustrated in the photograph below. Ingesting the adrenochrome, however, is as enjoyable a human activity as any I have yet engaged in. Yeah, the only thing is that it was mentioning, like, this was Hawaii, apparently, according to the Daily News. Which makes sense. He's from Hawaii, right? Now, I can't just take a fact check's word for it, obviously. But they say that the full post was fake. It was just like added in and someone wrote it in. So I don't know. I don't know yet, you know. Send me, you got my email, right? For those that are here, that you got anything that you want to push on or you want me to take a look at and I might miss in chat, I'm sorry if I do, because sometimes I fall behind. And then I try and catch up, and in doing so, I often miss things. That's my email, and you can send me a chat. Shin Lona. Dionysus, Zagreus, yeah, and there's a whole bunch too, right? Like Attis, Bacchus, like all of these are Dionysian figures. That born again figure, and I'm not talking about biblically born again. I'm talking about Dionysus. They were all killed and brought back to life somehow by another god. Thanks, Leading North. I'll have to check it out. Okay, yeah, sorry, you're just chatting with him. Someone's got Shin Lona has a pretty good video on Led Zeppelin's occult connections. I will definitely be watching this later. Probably have to finish up. Oh, dang it. Hold on. I'll have to finish up now in a second, so I just want to get through what I can in the chat, but I will save this for later. About 40 minutes.
Jimmy Page.
The Curse of Led Zeppelin by Mr. Mythos. Never looked into this channel, but that sounds interesting enough. This is the reason why I'm still sometimes on YouTube to watch videos. There's still good stuff here. If you can find it, that's the problem. That channel, Mr. Mythos, has some good content on unusual topics, inner earth and whatnot, academic approach, not new age nonsense. Good to hear, man. Thank you very much. Donnybrook, welcome to the channel. Have yourself a wrench. You can post links from now on. Tulsi is a wolf in sheep's clothing. Make a note to listen how frequently she calls the U.S. a democratic republic. This cannot be a mistake. We have never been a democratic republic. Correct. You are a constitutional republic. You are a constitutional republic. Systemic by design. Also have a wrench. Welcome to the channel. The world's a stage, and apparently I'm just catching on. She's on the CFR. Yes. Tulsi points are valid and well taken. Thanks. And hey, no problem. She still says some good stuff. She still says some good stuff. So don't worry. It's not like a chink in the armor against you, man. Let's see. I don't trust anyone in politics. They have all been compromised and bought. How do these bastards make $100,000 a year minimum? And how do they make that and become millionaires? Yeah, corrupt to the core. It's by selling themselves, right? The smarter criminals get into politics. Remember when those intellectual dark web guys were talking Tulsi and Dan Crenshaw right at the start of the pandemic? Yep. Matthew North does a good job at exposing the intellectual dark web guys. Remember that picture with like Sam Harris and Joe Rogan? Sam Harris, Joe Rogan dinner. There's like all of them. All of them chilling there. Yeah. So you got Rubin, Peterson. Is that Weinstein? Sam Harris, Ben Shapiro. And they're all just chilling. Yeah. Yeah, I don't trust that for a second. I don't trust any of them. They've been put here for a reason. They've all been put here for a reason to modernize. I think, like, on the surface, it's so that they could legitimize selling stuff online. They're talking things about certain truths, but then they're selling the fleshlight or birch gold or whatever Shapiro was selling, or you know what I mean? They all had something to sell you after. Sam Harris got his creepy connections as well. He's on the edge.org website. If you go through that documentary that I just gave you, the Dashnets, that one, John Brockman is one of the first people that they interview, and he was the head of edge.org. And it's basically like the intellectual dark web or whatever. You can find Madame Marina Abramovich as part of it, along with many, many, many people. Alan Alda seems to be another one of them. Just think about Alan Alda. What was he doing in MASH? He was undermining like the U.S. Army the entire time for the Korean War. Just constantly like taking shots at the army. But if you look up, Sam Harris is here. Sam Harris. He's part of edge.org. This is another interesting one to look into because you start realizing who's behind it. Epstein. I know for the people who've been here for a while. Billionaire's Dinner 2000. Here is Mr. Epstein with Miravold. Oh, did they pull this? They didn't pull this, did they? Hold on. Oh, did they? These brilliant intellectuals here can't, they tried to remove it, but it's still there. If you look up Epstein, here he is. But if I click on it, it's not there. Scumbags, dumbass scumbags. They're not half as smart as they think they are. You should like just look at like the pompous douchery that's all over this website too. You get a chance. They're just total scumbags, and they think that they just know better than everybody else. Like positive human behavior. They're all about like fucking with people's psyches is what they do here. And it's like the who's who of Globo Homo as well. If you were to like look up the groups. Okay, let's get back to it. The Pope will use the First Nations, Vatican into pagan Mother Earth, Gaia worship. Well, that's what they did before as well. That's what they did before. Mary and dressed her, Saint Anne. They use Saint Anne a lot, and they use the correlation between Mother Earth and Ceres, the Ceres or Gaia figure. And Saint Anne was often dressed with the same kind of earthy clothing and stuff like that. Earthy colors. My own friends thinks he's great because he was a SEAL. They've learned nothing. Crenshaw. Oh, yeah. I wanted you to say Judaism, Avidan, but to each his own. Talmudic. I got some big problems with Talmudic Judaism. Yeah, I get some big problems with that. Doctrinally, though. Because there's like the doctrine that they put out to the public, but then there's also the esoteric. And since you were telling me to put the esoteric on the table, but even when you were talking about that, I still go with Catholicism. I think it is the most egregious one. I don't know though. They're kind of all pretty bad, aren't they? All pretty bad. Crowley POS, Systemic by Design. I gave you one before. Okay, we're good. YouTube is asshole. Yes. Okay, I think I've caught up, haven't I, for the most part? Let's get to this. Okay, there's the Dash Nets. Psychological warfare, says Systemic by Design. Yeah, we cannot underestimate the amount of psychological warfare that they're doing onto us. Edge.org is a great example of that. Take a look into that. And this intellectual dark web, I think, is straight out from those guys. I'll leave you with another one as well. If you haven't seen the John Paul Rice, this has been hidden from YouTube many times. Let me see if I can find it. John Paul Rice. It's about as Catholic a name as you can get, by the way, so it's not all Catholics. Yeah. I've gotten a strike for putting this up, and they didn't even give me a strike for what was in the video. They gave me a strike for copying and pasting the link from the video at which I mirrored it from that was in the description. They said it was harassment. So whenever you see harassment and bullying strikes and stuff like that, it's often because, I mean, they don't care about pedos on YouTube, right? They remove people with this pretense.
Just gonna wait here.
But let's see.
Where are our Martin Luther King Jr.'s and our Malcolm?
Let's see if I can.
Anake Lucas, who was a child sex slave at 6 years old for the elite.
So this guy he worked with the Hunger Games, and he was in with like Remember the Titans as well. There's a whole bunch. This guy basically blows open like the sex slave industry and human trafficking and all that kind of stuff that goes on. Check this guy out as well. John Paul Rice, he did A Child's Voice, and he's still kicking, I think, but he's basically been canceled everywhere very silently. Check that out if you haven't seen that yet. Oprah had Aquino on her show. Yes. Yeah. And this was a long time ago when her job is to normalize this stuff. Yeah, that was her job. Yeah. Yeah, I was trying to remember what show he was on. And it was Oprah. It was Oprah. Thank you. That's the way it goes. They also had these guys dressing up as women. Yeah. It's like one of their rites of passage, isn't it? To dress up like a woman. Because they want men to be women and women to be men. That's a lot of this whole transgender stuff, too. I feel really bad for those that are, like, dragged into this delusion, for lack of a better word. Like, yeah, a part of it annoys me, too, and, like... But you can't forget that, like, this is part of the psychological warfare. This is not on accident that many people are starting to say that they are a woman as a man and a man as a woman. This is a deliberate plan that has been perpetrated on these people, and they are victims. You got to remember that, I guess. Even if they are, like a lot of these people, like, they are hell-bent on destroying any system that might go against them. And you could easily see them as an enemy, but they are a victim. They want us to hate them, and they want them to hate us. It was said when Anton LaVey was on his deathbed, he was saying, oh no, something ain't right, just before he passed. I've heard that. Yeah, I've heard that. Possibly. Gee, that's a great place to cremate you. Care if you're into that kind of thing. I've looked into the CYM stuff, says Tron Fukyu. Look at the documents. They seem to be typewritten. Yep, I'll be getting into that right after this show. Indeed. Oh, did I lose it? Hold on. Let's see. YM Corp Adrenochrome. I think I just have too many tabs open. I probably can't see where I put it before. Thank you for the reminder. Let's see. Late Mother Therese says, order investigated for child trafficking in India. Yes. Yep. I got a feeling she ain't no saint. I got a feeling that she ain't no saint, because that is a system. Like, there was like a system in with that, and it seemed like a well-rehearsed system. Of course, they would say it's fake. Of course they would. Yeah. All right, I think I'm mostly caught up here now. When searching YouTube, filter by upload date or length. It helps. Yes, it does. Yeah. Yeah, messing with those playlists as well are pretty good. And if you put in parentheses, you can also bypass a lot of that stuff. You can still get away and find some good stuff. Playlists are really good, I've noticed. I have a picture of great grandma sitting on Colonel Sanders' lap when he visited Gander, Newfoundland in the 60s when he was opening up his franchises. I didn't know he was in Newfoundland. I have family in Gander. I remember seeing the 60-minute show on Sanford, Maine, the satanic capital of the United States, terror town. I saw it on television years ago, but you won't find it anywhere. There's another thing, because we opened up with the Sandy Hook tree or whatever. There was, in Newtown, apparently one of the headquarters of the Satanic Church was in Newtown. You can't find much on that now online. But you can still find, if you search Newtown, Connecticut, Satanic Church or whatever, Satanic Activity, you can find an old website that talks about a survey that surveyed the people of Newtown, and it was like over half of them believe that there was satanic activity occurring within the city, which is interesting because like Connecticut is not like one of those, like Bible Belt states, obviously, right? And so they don't just like hop onto the satanic panic. But it seems that there was something going on there that enough of the people there, I don't know if it was over half, but it was like a very large amount of the people of Newtown said that there was satanic activity going on there, and many of them said it was causing a problem. This was in the 90s, I think. Could post it on my community page, but no one would probably see it because I have no followers. It's at my mom's house now. Could send it to Avidan if people were interested. I think you've also sent me something on natives as well, way back, like a year ago, virtual. So yeah, send it to my email if you'd like. Dorf Googlestein says test. Your test has passed. Don't know if you guys seen it because it's not coming up on my tablet when I leave a comment about gender bending chemicals. It's possible that YouTube removes that. I don't see it on my end. I don't think I see anything. Hold on. No, sir. If you have posted something and I've read past it, I don't see it anywhere. I did miss someone thanking me for the podcast and that I earned a sub. I'm sorry if I missed you, if I didn't read it out. I was trying to get through. Oh yeah, Leap Thor says, thank you for the content. You earned a sub. Thank you, man. Thanks for coming along. And you're always welcome to chat. Drop whatever comments you like. It's good to have you. Welcome aboard. And I think I apologize if I've missed any comments there, guys. But I think I am caught up, and I am 1 hour over time. I thought I was going to be finished soon. So I think I will finish it up now. Virtual Asylum, yeah, post your channel. I mean, guys, if you got channels and you want like a couple subs and stuff like that, feel free to put it here, man. Don't worry about it. I'm not like strict on that. YouTube hates it when you tell the truth. Oh, one last thing before I go. Let's go into my command center or whatever that is. It's gonna take. I got so much stuff open now. Hold on. I look like Last American Vagabond at this point with like 30. Well, he has like more. It's like 50 things that he has open. Okay, go to my videos. Yeah, I got to show you something that came up on the community, like YouTube stuff. What's new in studio? Yeah, stricter setting. They've come up with this. stricter setting for potentially inappropriate comment moderation. We're rolling out a new new optional setting in YouTube Studio that gives creatives more control over potentially inappropriate comments in their channels. The increased strictness settings hold more comments for review when detecting potentially inappropriate content. Creators may wish to keep out of their channel's published comments. Asked nobody except for Globo Homo news channels. That's it. That's it, because they're all getting blasted everywhere they go. So you have to remove the dislikes and make sure that no comments can get through. It's disgusting. It's disgusting. You won't see that happen on my channel. All right. We're up to 53:45. That's cool. That's cool. I don't know if you saw the Sean Penn video that I made. I was going to get into Sean Penn today, but we went into the chat and stuff like that. Check it out. The video's not doing too well, actually. Not a big deal. I actually meant to hold this and post it like at a better time slot, but I accidentally put it on and I was like, screw it. Doesn't matter. It's just about Sean Penn. It gets into the Clinton Foundation, gets into Haiti, a lot of other stuff. He's also, if you go about 5 minutes in, he's totally coked up. Like he's like on the air and he's like flipping out and snorting like crazy. Lots of coke snorting, it seems. Like, what's up with these people over in Ukraine? They're all like hopped up on coke. But yeah, we'll just leave it at that. Check it out. Check out the video. It's the Sean Penn video, and we will see you on the next one. All right. Let's see. Scotty Lewis, we're just finishing up. I'm so sorry, my man. But yep, I don't take down these videos, so you should be able to see it all. And it's not too long tonight. Not as bad as the other ones. All right, guys. Thank you so much. Oh, we got the Virtual Asylum's channel there. Check that one out as well. And guys, thank you very much for another great stream. This has been a very engaged chat with a lot of great information, and we had some great topics. I almost didn't need to lead with anything today, to be honest with you, because you guys were chatting so well. Thank you so much, and we will see you on the next one. Take care, guys.